reveals the secrets of the past, the present, and what.
All right, guys, it's time for your jump scare. Here we go. We got a tournament today, so it's going to be a standard SFT. Only one restriction, or two technically. Thunder Tusks are limited to one, and the Slaanesh is banned right now. So we're just banning the number one faction today to make it a little bit more fair for people. And yeah, that's it. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone. Hope you're doing well. Let's get it, baby, and let's have some fun. So we're going to be casting. Wanted to get a little bit of faction diversity today, and rest the old man hands a little bit. So let us see which game we want to do. Solo Spaghetto versus Leech Lord looks like a fun one. All right, lobby code, please. All right, in solo, we will do this. Great, let's get this lobby going. How you guys doing? Hopefully you had a good one. Give me heart palpitations. That's the idea, we're trying to jumpstart your day. Yes, yes. Let's get it. Welcome. Okay, so just going to be getting the lobby code from these first two individuals, and outstanding. I have found it. Let's get in and cast some games. By the way, we have some new maps, a couple new maps made. I'm very excited to kind of do those, although I think this person did not update your map pack. Okay. Yo, you need to update your map pack. Do you have... All right, so just checking. We just updated the map pack, so it'll take like a round or two for everybody to get that squared away. Sorry about that. Hopefully you feel better, Yeet. It's not fun. I did feast pretty hard for sure. Yeah, my mom basically does like Thanksgiving 2.0 for Christmas, so it's just like we basically just had Thanksgiving again last night. Yeah, Seekers are really like the Slaanesh Elite Cav are definitely a problem. Seekers just like insta kill things. It's pretty nuts. I mean, they can be beaten for sure, but, usually once we get a little bit of data, factions that are over 70, 80% win rate, we usually ban them in SFTs for, like, competitive play. You don't necessarily need to because of the pick 3 system. You can cater your matchups and ban them if you don't want to play against them or use global bans, but in SFT, you don't have a choice. So, yeah, it'll be a little bit more fair. Kimsey, thank you for the donation. And, yes, excited to see the work. Should be fun. Hey, Beast, we're doing good. Thank you for joining. Yes, yes. Greatly appreciated, bud. All right. Yep, just needs to update the map pack. Cool, cool. So yeah, we have two new maps. Let me show you real quick. So they're both Chaos Dwarf themed. So we have the oil field, or Hashit's Oil Fields by Hammer and Zebra, which is going to be our round 4 map for today. And then we have the Altar of Hashit. This one's pretty wild. The Altar of Hashit, let me show you guys real quick. It has a really, really... I don't know how the spawn zone would be on this. It's going to be pretty nuts because you literally spawn tip to tip. It's like one of those crazy missions in tabletop where you like basically deploy on top of each other. This one isn't in today's tournament. The oil fields one is, but we can still take a look at this. Yes, yes. My family and I rented a beach house in North Carolina for a few days. Sounds fun. Yeah, that sounds like a good time. Yes, this is one of the new maps. Check it out. So basically, you have Objective 2 and Objective 3, and the spawn points, you're basically touching tips, like right here in the corner. So you could literally have like a unit deployed right here in the corner, right? And then your opponent could have the same thing. So I would imagine like this is very good for gun line, because you have like a really tight choke line. Like this area is very hard to flank, and you could just like kind of move up. Gun or bow line, something like that. And then there's one objective on the far side, which is really going to be contested via Vanguard. I mean, you can move out there as well, this direction, but yeah, mainly probably going to be Vanguard, I would imagine. But this is one of the new maps. And the other one is Hashit's Oil Fields, which is what we're going to be using today. You'll see that for round 4. Yeah. Should be good. All right, cool. And I think we're about ready for the lobbies. And we'll see what our first match of the day is going to be. Pizza time. I love it. Respect. Okay. Okay, cool. And it's going to be Kislev in game 1. Fun to see. Kislev's certainly a much more balanced faction right now. I think Kislev is quite literally sitting around 50% win rate. Yeah, Kislev is at basically 50%. 15 wins, 16 losses. That's like perfection, right? They've really, really come to a good place. Oh, yeah, you got Lord of the Rings on TV too. That's the power. That's the power team right there. All right, so taking a look at the stats so far for the season. Chaos Demons, extremely OP. 100% win rate. Isn't that weird that Chaos Demons have only been played once this season? I mean, we haven't had a ton of tournaments, but you could see, I mean, this is a lot of games played here, right? Like all this. And of all those games, we've only had Chaos Demons played once, which is pretty wild. Slaanesh is off to an 81% win rate. And yeah, everybody else is looking pretty good, honestly. Like, this is good. This is really good. Like, every faction is kind of within the spectrum of, like, 40 to 60% so far. So if this data keeps trending this way and we can keep everything in this ballpark, dude, that is a huge win for the community. High Elves are honestly fine. They're just very difficult to play. Bretonnia is definitely in the pits. Dark Elves are better than 31%. Nurgle should be a 50% win rate faction. They're very good. I think they just kind of get countered by some of the meta right now, but even still, they're good. And Tzeentch doesn't belong at 26% either. I think good players just aren't playing them as often. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, things are looking pretty good right now. Turn on the Chaos Demons for next tournament, pump those stats up a bit. I mean, Chaos Demons are extremely good. They're very strong. I'm just surprised we don't see them more often. What's broken for Slaanesh? It's really just their cav, the Seekers. Yeah, Seekers are really problematic. Like, if the Creative Assembly changed something with the way they pile in, like the amount of models that can pile in and hit you, and they seem to just do busted amounts of damage. Yeah, I don't know what changed with them, but there was something a couple patches ago. You have to lower that win rate. I will. Gonna get in and go 0-3 with Demons of Chaos. At these numbers, it's really about the players. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. The data isn't too conclusive now, but hopefully it'll keep trending that way, and we'll have pretty good fair business here. Dark Elves are good, honestly. They're very strong. Warriors of Chaos do not have access to Seekers because Seekers are a demon unit. So they have Hellstriders, which are very balanced. Hellstriders are extremely good, but they're not like busted or anything. Hellstriders are like one of the main things that makes Warriors of Chaos competitive. It allows them to contest the mobile game of so many other factions. Because otherwise, for Warriors of Chaos, if you want to contest mobility, your best bet is Monstrous, infantry, which are like 50-something speed, or Chaos Knights, which are 1300, very slow, very cumbersome. Yeah, we're casting today, Pace. Yeah, so we're going to be just going through a bunch of matchups. Every round, we're going to be casting somebody else, so you'll be getting different factions every single game. Who is the mighty Dowie player today? I think there's a couple dwarf players, if memory serves. Let me just double check this. Do we have any dwarves? Yes, we do. Okay. So we got Warriors of Chaos. I'm just going to kind of bang out the factions. So Warriors of Chaos, Vampire Coast, Dark Elves, Kislev, Lizardmen, Vampire Count, Skaven, Empire Khorne, Lizardmen, Nurgle, Dwarves, Dark Elves, Lizardmen, High Elves, Tzeentch, Ogres, Greenskins, Tomb Kings, Dwarves. Outer Region's playing Dwarves, so I mean, there's a high likelihood you'll see them in the top 4. We have another Dark Elf player, a whole bunch of them getting played today. We have another Dwarf player, Wood Elves, Kislev, Lizardmen, and that is it. So those are the factions being played today. I might have missed a couple, but I think that is most of them being played. Yeah, dwarves are solid though. I mean, they won the last SFT. They did really good. The one that I played in, and I lost in the finals with Nurgle against dwarves. It was very solid faction. They're map dependent too. Pone, why aren't you playing today, dude? You had work. Yeah, I didn't know if you had today off. I should have asked. I did my boy Pone dirty. All right, let's see what's cracking here. Okay, maybe he's making his build in a different lobby or something. All right. Yeah, he should be good. Apparently he was having some issues there. I'm going to the movies in an hour. Nice. What are you going to go see, man? Are you going to go see that new Isn't there some new werewolf movie coming out? Let me see what's out right now. Okay. It's the Bob Dylan movie. Yeah, I don't know. What else is coming out? Oh, Nosferatu's out, isn't it? Isn't that the one with Willem Dafoe? I had hopes for that one. Has anybody seen it? No spoilers, of course. I mean, it is probably just the classic Dracula story, right? But yeah, that looked like it was kind of fun. Okay. And outstanding. Merry Christmas. Happy to be able to support your stream. Hey, dude, I appreciate that, man. Merry Christmas to you. Hopefully you had a good one. Hopefully you had a good one indeed. Wolferatu. Nosferatu. Yeah, you're going to go see it? Yeah. Hopefully it's good. I mean, Willem Dafoe is always super fun. Who else is in that? In the Nosferatu movie. Let's see. Nosferatu cast. Oh, okay. Classic. It's the classic modern trend of using one of the Skarsgård brothers as a horror piece. I like that. You got Willem Dafoe. Oh, okay. I'm seeing it here. Yeah, it looks fun. Say a pretty solid cast there. It's absurdly good. Right on. Yeah, maybe we'll have to go see that tonight. That sounds pretty exciting. Allow multiple lords. How does that work? Yeah, so basically, if I were to click allow multiple lords, as you would suspect, multiple lords can be added to the army. Nobody does this for competitive, obviously. It's more of like a gimmick for playing with your friends. But yeah, it's cool. Like if you want to do a big thematic battle, you know, like a huge mega funds battle, and you want to like have one player commanding the empire with, you know, all their legendary lords, you know, on the field together. It's cool. You can definitely do it. That would actually be a really fun format, like a team tournament where you allow multiple lords. Although, what is the limit? They probably still fall under the limit of single entities, so you can't go too crazy with that. But it would be fun to have like Boris Todbringer and Karl Franz like defending a city together or something. I think that'd be really fun. All right, looks like his opponent's finally arrived. The cavemen have figured out how to get the map packs going. Okay, I was gonna say if he was playing Bretonnia, I was gonna pity him. It's hard. You seen the Lord of the Rings movie? I haven't seen it. No, that's the story of Helm Hammerhand, right? Oh, yeah, I've heard mixed things about it. I've heard some people liked it, but I've heard some people say it really deviates from the you know. I guess there's probably not much lore in that subject matter, anyways. But can you take more than one of the same lord? I don't think so. No, you can't take duplicates. It has to be different lords, as far as I know. But if you turn off CA unit caps, maybe. I don't know. Never tried it. Never tried it. Turn. I've recently used Classic Ungrim in an Old World battle. The one I bought because you showed it. Oh, cool. How'd it go? Ungrim's actually seems quite good. The named character from Warhammer the Old World. I mean, the fact that I think he has Killing Blow and Monster Slayer. So if he just lands a single 6th wound, he can like auto kill a dragon, which is cool. I feel like the Killing Blow mechanic in Old World, they shouldn't get wards, like monsters just shouldn't get ward saves against it, you know, because they're already so like powerful and just mobile, and you know, if they like find their way into combat with like a 3 movement speed dwarf, like it should suffer. Just to Carl's twin brother Carl. Good to see some Kislev. Yeah, Kislev is good. Yeah, they're good. They're hard. They're not as easy. They're not as unga bunga as they once were. This matchup is definitely very, very Kislev favored in my opinion. It depends on the map, of course. The map can make a big difference. This is Crystal Lake, which is one of Wacka Wacka's maps. It's a really nice one of my favorites, actually. And it has really excellent ambushing on the top side of the map, followed up by like a big open field. So, you know, you can kind of utilize terrain and ambush if you don't want to play open field, or you can play open field. Kislev can do a lot here. You know, just bowline has always been super meta against Kislev, or against Ghost. Their guns will be outranged typically and have arc of fire problems shooting back at bows. Little Grom is also quite good. Granted, you know, 2 Vampire Coast cannons can usually outtrade a Little Grom very, very heavily. It's tricky to protect, but a good Vampire Coast player with good awareness and, you know, positioning can usually do it. But if you duplicate your Lord with the Changeling, though, then yeah, probably make it work. He is awesome, but so scary that nobody wants to fight him. Yeah. Yeah, with Dwarves in the Old World, they've actually been doing okay in a couple events. You just gotta like tie up all your points with Dwarves into like miserable bricks that nobody wants to deal with, right? It's like Dwarves play in tabletop a playstyle called Points Denial very well. You can just have a couple bricks of like extremely difficult to kill models. So, for example, you can have like a brick of Ironbreakers with like a super powerful Dwarf Lord with them, and then have like, you know, a couple gyrocopters and some artillery sitting in the back corner, and it's like, it's really frustrating to score points against a list like that, because you're either like, if you're a slower army, you're forced to go in and fight the dwarf brick, which can just shit on you, or, you know, you go after the other elements, which can overextend you. It's fun. I play Chaos Dwarves, which are kind of similar, but Chaos Dwarves are more like monster mashy. Yeah, dwarves are actually, I think, like one of the better design factions in Old World. The fact that they don't rely on just big bullshit cheese monsters, and they can still win tournaments and compete with those like overpowered lists is really, really cool. All right, here we are. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round 1 of today's Holiday Monster Mash. Here we are on the Crystal Lake. It is going to be Kislev versus the Vampire Coast. A tale of underdogs as old as time. Can the Vampire Coast find a way to beat Kislev? I think it's possible. I think artillery play is actually the way to go. If I were just, going hog wild on this map, I would probably like utilize the edge of the map here and like kind of form a defensive concave around objectives 3 and 2 and just have cannons and, or some sort of artillery. Kislev, will lose artillery duels quite often. So, yeah, it's a good time, man. Now, looking at the armies of Kislev, the Power Slavs using the Polish flag, semi-Polish flag. We got Kossars, and Kossars. So these are going to be the bow Kossars, which is good. Bow spam, like I said, very, very good in this matchup. My favorite part about Solo's build, though, is going to be the Chad Ice Guard. So Ice Guard are one of my favorite units on the roster. These ladies are just freaking awesome. And yeah, they can pound down Sirens. They can kill a lot of the roster. Of course, not the most armor, but if they can avoid artillery and being dove on by, things that are very powerful, they can whip out a lot of damage. So he's basically playing like an Anticity style. He's got mass bows. Like, I actually don't see any melee Kossars here. Wow, guys, it is straight up just a bow line, right? Like all Kossars with no armored Kossars and then Ice Guard. And it's going to be the Tsarina Katarine who's going to be bringing a sniping kit, which I like. So we have Death Frost and Icebane's Kiss to clear out these zombies. And then we do have the Golden Knight, Nyarska Liesa. So she's pretty awesome. She does have a silence effect. So she's able to stick on top of the characters. She can silence them in a 35-meter radius, which is pretty badass. Now, looking at the armies here of the Leech Lord. Oh, Chad Bess. All right, well, we know who we're rooting for. I mean, it's kind of hard. We have a really cool army coming in from Solo, but, I mean, you can't beat Queen Bess. I mean, come on now. It's going to be Araness Assault Spite. Not bad. Nets are always good. And there is a Vampire Caster as well, who's going to be rocking Winds of Death, a super, super good tool against Kislev. This is going to eviscerate their expensive infantry very, very effectively. In the back, it's going to be handgun mobs, pistols, and zombies, but Queen Bess really is going to be the epicenter of the build, and there's also going to be some Depth Guard polearms that are going to be surging out from the depths and looking to grab the objectives in the middle. So here they come. But really, there's only one thing that myself and all of us in chat care about here today, and that is going to be the giant, fat, erect Queen Bess, which is sitting here waiting to drop steaming hot payloads on the faces of the Kislevites. So we're going to see if that goes down here. Aranessa, though, I do like the Aranessa, right? Being able to snare down these Kislev characters or use her to defend the Queen Bess could actually be good. All right, come on, fire the payload. Come on. Fire it. Okay, there we go. So we got the first shots. Queen Bess is extremely easy to dodge. I find where Queen Bess gets its value is not in the beginning. It's during the heat of battle when people aren't really paying as close of attention. Oh, God. Here it comes. Oh, direct hit. Oh, no. You could have dodged that. Solo Spaghetto wasn't watching and paid the troll toll and loses a lot of Ice Guard there. Loses 19 models, it looks like, and also takes like half HP. So that's pretty rough. Death Frost going down on Aranessa. She doesn't have the means of healing because she's not undead, so you can't actually heal her with Invocation, which is very, very annoying. One of the downsides of Aranessa there. But that is a wrecked Queen Bess shot. But you can dodge it. Basically, if you zoom out and just kind of see where it shoots and then just move from its original location, you're going to be fine. But yeah, out of the gates, that's a big win for the Vampire Coast to get a big shot like that. Yeah, that was a bullseye right there. Just fat, steaming payloads. And what Leechlord is doing is very good. Leechlord is switching targets every single shot. So you want to do that. It makes it a little bit harder for people to react. Oh, another Queen Bess shot. Dude, this Queen Bess is looking good right now. Now, Kossars, what they don't want to be fighting is Scurvy Dogs. They will get wrecked by Scurvy Dogs in terms of cost effectiveness. So Scurvy Dogs and Fellbats are both excellent tools. And honestly, if Leechlord just saves up for like 3 or 4 Scurvy Dogs or maybe Fellbats here, he could do a lot of damage. Kossovite Dervish is going to be coming out, and the battle lines are being defined as the Archer Corps is now in range. And Objective 2 probably going to be going to Kislev, and the guns of the Vampire Coast are returning the favor as some of the gunnery mobs put some hurt down. Another Queen Bess shot. Oh, God. You got to dodge those, dude. You got to dodge those. You can't let it happen like that, man. All hail the mighty indeed as another fat shot just blasts those Kossars in the face, so that certainly hurts pretty bad. Looking around the map, though, Kislev is going to have the advantage on the objectives, and in the tree line, it looks like there was an attempted ambush, so we did get 2 units of Kossovite Dervishes that tried to flank around. Now, a bit of a mistake by Leechlord, because Scurvy Dogs cannot solo Kossovite Dervishes. Dervishes will win. They just have a better stat line and are just more combat savvy. But yeah, calling in a Morngul to help out should have been done first. Like a Morngul and 1 Scurvy Dog or something like that would have been very strong, because there's a chance this backfield fight could go very, very badly for the Vampire Coast. In the meantime, though, Nyarska is getting in. The Golden Knight. This is such a cool matchup. We're getting so many fun units. But the Golden Knight runs in and just punishes this Vampire Fleet Captain. She gets nailed with Death Frost, gets silenced, so she's not going to be able to cast spells. But man, Tsarina Katarine getting just mowed down during that engagement there. We see her at like, what, 40% right now? So the gun line of the Vampire Coast, the handguns and the pistol mobs, obviously doing fat damage against the very light armor of the Tsarina. So both players trade blows there, and I would say at the end of the day, it's hard to say who came out ahead there, but overall it was not bad for either player. Now in the backfield, we do see one unit of Kislev dervishes attempting to shut down Queen Bess, which should not be doable with a depth guard as well as another halberd there. And also we can see some of the handguns firing and providing a little bit of supporting fire. More shots going into the Golden Knight, but at some point, the Vampire Coast is going to need to advance. This kind of playstyle of sitting back and value farming will work, but you will need to move up and triple cap them at some point, which is not going to be easy, that is for sure. So looking up at the battlefield, we do see a call into the Patriarch from Solo Spaghetto, which is a very, very good call. Ice Guard are moving up in the dreaded pencil formation, which is probably just a misclick to be honest, but I'm sure the player will figure that out soon. We do see the Kossar Spears having a pretty bad situation. There's no buffering in front of them, right? So they are pretty much in the direct arcs, as another Queen Bess shot's going to be coming in. Steaming hot payload right on the face here of the Kossars. Just pure pain here for Kislev as they continue to be eviscerated by the artillery of the Vampire Coast. In the backfield, Kislev dervishes making one more play for it, but taking massive casualties on the way in. And honestly, this probably is going to be a big win in the backfield situation for the forces of Vampire Coast, as they're just farming these Kislev Cav and getting a lot of work done there. So yeah, I would say that we do see a 5.6 to 2.3k value lead with healing, on the Vampire Coast side as well via the hunger. And in the woods, it looks like the Morngls were able to deal with most of the winged lancers and harassing cav units. A couple scurvy dogs going to be advancing out from the tree line, but Kislev does have a big advantage on the objectives and is going to be able to get some value back here with the Patriarch. So the Patriarch just gathered the homies together, said a little prayer for the boys and the girls here in the situation, and the Golden Knight is now back in the menu. She's going to be charging back into the battle and looking to maybe finish off the caster here. Although we do see a Death Frost going down. Really nice usage of that sniping spell by Solo Spaghetto there. So that does nail down the Vampire Fleet Captain, who is going to be at 271 HP. And now it looks like a little bit of a lapse in defense here, as maybe Queen Bess is going to be in trouble. So this could lose the game here. I mean, this Queen Bess still has a lot of ammunition, and I don't know why they moved off it. It looks like Leechlord decided to kind of move those halberds up into the main fray and left the Queen Bess undefended, which is now going to be dying. Unless there's like an emergency invo or something, this thing's going to die. But the Vampire Caster's also dead, so I think Kislev is starting to pull ahead in the game a little bit. Even though the value difference is so stark, there's a lot of healing with that Patriarch. It's pretty nasty. But the Vampire Coast surging forward with a lot of Morngl pressure. Those Morngls, those wacky inflatable arm guys, are going to be slapping up these Kislevites, and you can see they're going to have a very bad time here as they get taken to Pound Town and broken. So now the Undead are making a play for objectives, and I mean, maybe they'll have a decent chance at it, but losing Queen Bess and your caster back-to-back like that is going to be very painful. I mean, that's a massive amount of loss. Honestly, I think it's probably worth it for the Vampire Coast at some point during this game to resummon their caster, because that's so brutal to be without. Vampire Coast, though, is going to be able to hold on to this objective, and you can see the Kislev army is very raggedy, right? Like, these units are just super tattered, and we're going to be seeing the value advantage maybe for Leechlord start to show through a little bit. Aranessa, she going to go for a kill on Tsarina. Probably not worth it. I think Tsarina and the Golden Knight would probably be able to bully Aranessa pretty heavily. The Golden Knight is an extremely good fighter. Its stat line is insane. It's like, it's tired now, but yeah, its stats are nuts. And, great charge bonus on that thing as well. Handgun mob being brought in. Vampire Coast going to be surging forth with their zombie pirate gunnery mobs. We do have two of them heading up to the objective. Scurvy dogs going to be slamming into the back of some of the Ice Guard here. Or no, those are just Kossars. I think there's some Ice Guards still left. Yeah, we have one unit of Ice Guard swords here. In this matchup, you definitely go for swords on your Ice Guard. You might be like, oh, well, I want halberds to deal with Morngls and crabs or whatever, but no. The big threat to Ice Guard is going to be Scurvy dogs and Fellbats, and if you give them swords, they annihilate those units super heavily, so... yeah, it's pretty badass. Bowfire is very cost effective here, though. I mean, they're getting a lot of damage into the Night Terrors, as we do see Depth Guard arriving onto the middle point. Might as well get the Depth Guard on the Kossar Spears. In the backfield, Tsarina, Katarina, and the Golden Knight getting a little bit crunk. And Aranessa on foot has an extremely low HP pool, so she is going to be suffering that Death Frost over and over. And yeah, basically she's just running around trying not to get caught by this Kislev character squad. And honestly, I don't hate the idea of trying to get a kill on Aranessa. She only has 20 armor, so Nyarska would be able to connect very well. Even the Tsarina on her horse with the charge bonus could connect. The gun call in there, able to do some work as we got legions of zombies on their way up. And looking at the points, it is 844. And look at the value difference now. Solo Spaghetto is actually farming extremely well. A lot of the Morngls are dying. We do see one Morgul dying here. The other Morngls did take a cab charge from Dervishes head on and are paying the price a little bit. But yeah, the fact that the value gap is closing is not good. There's way more healing in Solo's army because of the fact his caster didn't die, and he was able to get that Patriarch and heal his characters, which took a lot of damage. On the side here, though, Winged Lancers are going to be potentially broken down by the Scurvy Dogs to just mass amounts of zombie mobs. We'll have to see. There's going to be a Griffin Legion coming out. So the Griffin Legion is very powerful. they're going to be able to come in and just nail these units down. This one Griffin Legion could easily solo all these units. On the middle, Vampire Coast getting some pressure with their Depth Guard polearms. Are we going to be seeing a caster come out for Leech Lord? I think it's worth it. Having Winds of Death here in the late game would be incredibly strong. And obviously, the Vampire Coast needs the triple cap here. Yeah, losing that best was tough. And the caster, like, man, that's such an expensive run of characters to lose. Objective, well, one still owned, and the gun line here getting some nice value, shooting it in Yarska, the Golden Knight, and I think that Aranessa just has to accept her fate here. She's about to get charged and run down here by the elites of Kislev, the Power Ladies, the Golden Girls, and they're going to be moving in, and yeah, should be some good damage. Zarina leads the charge, and of course should have let the Golden Knight do it. She would be a little bit more impactful in the charge probably, but it is what it is. Will Vampire Coast be able to utilize its gun line here to stabilize this position? I don't think so. I think if Kislev really wants blood here, they're going to get it, and Aranessa probably will die. Usually I think it's better to put Aranessa on her crab. It gives her way more durability. Massive armor values in tandem with just bigger HP. It's very, very good. So we do see Aranessa's Salt Spite fleeing the scene. 1,000 HP. But yeah, she's going to die here. I mean, unless Solo, lets off, takes his foot off the pedal and decides not to. Yeah. Going to be tricky. So zombies are arriving. I mean, hey, there is a chance that Vampire Coast can kind of grind this one back, right? Because we're looking at the Kislev army. It's mostly cav. They don't really have a lot of infantry presence, so that could cost them on the objectives. But yeah, losing Aranessa is really going to suck. It's going to make the zombies crumble so much quicker here. So we see Aranessa running with 300 HP. The zombie deckhand mobs do get a nice little surround here, and we'll do some damage, a couple nibbling damage points on these units, but nothing significant. And we do see these Scurvy Dogs coming in to save. I like this. I think going through the efforts to save Aranessa is worth it. Every second you can keep her alive is very, very big because it's going to mitigate the leadership penalty that you would take from normally losing her. Alex, thank you for the donation. I greatly appreciate it. Any chance for Toddy and a Warrior Priest? So I'm not playing today. But if you remind me on a future stream, I will happily do a Toddy/Warrior Priest build for you. I like Warrior Priest in a couple matchups, especially against Undead. I think they're very good against, not very good, but they're average, decent, usable against, Tomb Kings, Vampire Coast, and Vampire Counts as well. All right, thank you for the donation. And looking at the points on the board, we do see Vampire Coast cackling on 2 objectives. Scurvy Dogs here are going to be feasting super hard. Kossars with Spears only have 19 melee attack. So the Scurvy Dogs, even their Haggard 14 melee defense, is going to be holding up pretty well, right? So we do see these guys at 84. Scurvy Dogs are feasting pretty hard. 2-cap situation, and oh man, this is close. So as it currently stands, Vampire Coast would win on 2 objectives. It would be like a 30 or 40 point game. But as it currently stands, I don't know if the Vampire Coast player is paying attention to the math and the arithmetic up here, but he would win on just 2. I believe. I don't think I'm wrong about this, but I mean, he could get a triple cap, and I think the value advantage that Leech Lord was able to get early is really coming into its own here, as he does take a lot of domination here over the objectives. A little bit of an activity here from these cav. They could definitely come across and maybe try and run down some of the non-halberd zombies. We do get some Ice Guard swords being called in, which is a good call as well. They'll be able to kind of poke the depth guard from a safe distance. Unfortunately, a miss micro here from Solo Spaghetto. He's did not give the shooting order. Okay, there he did. Good. He caught it. Well played. But now the archers are going to be ripping shots. I think these ladies have such cool bow animations, like the quick draw they have. Yeah, they're so awesome. Look at the Ice Guard. I really hope Kislev gets a tabletop army in the next couple years. That would be one I'd be super stoked to collect. And yeah, the Ice Guard are able to wreck the Depth Guard. 100%. Depth Guard would just get kited. If they try and chase them, their speed is only 25. These ladies are not messing around. But the Depth Guard did succeed in getting the objective. In the meantime, some of the Griffin Legion here do get caught by the Depth Guard polearms. And looks like the Vampire Coast is back on the menu, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Sam, welcome to the stream, dude. Yes. Welcome, welcome. So what's cooking around here? We got more zombies coming in, and for Kislev, I mean, they have a big points lead, so Kislev does have some time to grind back the objectives, but man, where's the leadership core of Kislev right now? They were around somewhere. Okay, so we see Nyarska. Oh, did Katarina get mowed down? I think so. So I think Katarina got taken out. We can actually check by looking at the leadership. Yeah, okay, we did miss it, guys. Sorry. So Katarina did get wrecked by the gunfire. So she dove into the backfield with the homies, and she was target focused by the zombie power gunnery mobs and the handgun mobs, and who are trying now to finish off the other Kislev characters, who should probably honestly just make a run for it, because man, a lot of damage. That Patriarch just lost like 20% of his HP, maybe more like 15% from that pistol volley from that 300 gold unit. Ouch, man. Okay, so this character, I was like feeling like Kislev is ahead, but yeah, man, these characters getting mowed down by the guns in the backfield is totally changing the dynamic of the game, right? Because having those 3 heroes leading these Kislev positions would be extremely powerful, but Yeah, okay, so Vampire Coast is back on the menu, ladies and gentlemen, as we do get the gunnery mobs coming in and unleashing hellish salvos in here. And the Patriarch gets mowed down, and now the Golden Knight, she better make a run for it. She's just dazed and confused, which is a great song, by the way. Although I think my favorite Led Zeppelin song is Since I've Been Loving You. That song is so freaking good. 700 HP, 600 HP, 500 HP, Solo Spaghetto. A bit of a lapse in micro, unfortunately. He probably could have saved this character, which would be a big difference maker, but the Golden Knight has been left to her own devices, and now is going to be making a last samurai charge. I like the flavor here. Let's see if she makes the charge. And I think she's going to make contact. Does she get mowed down off the horse? 30 HP. We got to watch the dramatic end of the Golden Knight at the hands of the foul undead. So the zombie cutlasses will probably be the end of her. With 30 HP, you're not going to be lasting super long. 9 HP, and the Golden Knight is going to take a couple more cutlass blows, and that will be the end of the road. And down goes the Golden Knight in a morass of the undead. Now, looking on the battlefield, we do see Objective 1 still being held by the Vampire Coast, and we do see Morngul's coming up to secure that one. And I think you could safely say that this game is over at this point. I think that Vampire Coast re-secured their advantage by mowing down those characters. That was pretty massive. Granted, I still think Vampire Coast probably would have won, even without that blunder. I think they would have. But this was anyone's game. This game was honestly very close. I think both players were in positions to win it. But, the forces of Leech Lord were able to get a big value lead early, which kind of cushioned their future mistakes. Whereas Kislev was always kind of fighting from behind on value, so they couldn't afford to make mistakes. And then they made some big mistakes back here, and they paid the troll toll. More music recommendations, please. You've heard that song, though, before, right? Yeah, it's the GOAT. It's the GOAT of Led Zeppelin songs. I mean, yeah, Since I've Been Loving You, I think, is my favorite Led Zeppelin song. Yeah, they got a lot of great stuff, obviously. Hey, thank you for the donation. I'll just call it Alki for short. Happy holidays, Turin. Been watching the video since 2019. That's quite a journey. 2019 was 5 years ago, which is insane. Yeah, please keep it rolling. We will. We're not going anywhere, dude. We're not going anywhere. And some Warcraft. We got some Warcraft stuff on the horizon. So when I get to level 60 on my Hunter in WoW Classic, and the Battlegrounds open up and everything, I'll do some live streams of not only Warcraft 3, but I'll also do some live streams of Battlegrounds, which will be really fun. Yeah, so that's the jam. This has been a really good game, though. Super, super good match, but Kislev, Kislev, are they back on the menu a little bit? We do see them surging forward. They do manage to maybe steal this objective, so maybe a little bit top-loaded here. I think that Leech Lord needs to migrate some units down to Objective 2. He's got a lot of guns coming in. That is a lot of stopping power, but we do see Kislev re-secure an objective here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, could Kislev just blob units on this point, blob mobility, and win this? No way. No way they're coming back. No way. We do have some gun mobs coming up here to press Objective 3. Beautiful Winds of Death. I mean, it's against a very beat-up unit, but everything matters at this point. Every little morsel of value you can squeeze is going to be very, very big. A lot of capture weight coming in, and we do see Solo Spaghetto getting his cav units that did rally in the woods, and they're running into the gunnery mobs, which is great. Oh my god, is Kislev going to be able to weasel their way back into this game? That's going to be insane. We got Kossars coming out in the back. There's going to be more Kossars. The heavy cav and light cav of Kislev are basically being sacrificed. And okay, another kill on the Vampire Caster, actually. We do see the Things in the Woods coming in, which are excellent anti-infantry killers. And they do manage to get on top of the Vampire Fleet Captain, who's very vulnerable to this, with not the best stat line. And oh my goodness, this could actually be a pretty tense little game here. Vampire Coast, though, going for a backcap situation. And we do see the Zombie Pirate Gunnery mobs coming here in the doggo. So they probably be able to grab that and close the game out. But man, look at the score. 1253 against 12. This is like a 20-point game right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is nuts. All right, Objective 2 is owned by Kislev, but the Undead have been able to push through with some Halberd support. Morngul's going to be able to rip through the cab pretty quickly, and I think that Kislev is simply going to be losing it because of Objective 3. They're not going to be able to get there in time to stop that. If they had some Dervishes or fast cav in reserve, like Winged Lancers, even Griffin Legion, they maybe could have stifled this aggression, but okay, there was a last-minute surge there, and it kind of made it look like Kislev might have a second wind, but I think my prediction, my original one, was correct in that this game is probably over. But a very, very good match nonetheless. Kossars here going to be eating some pistol fires. They do charge in. The Chad Kislevites, just muscle slobs for days, going to be turning their bows about face and trying to rip some shots and, crumble these zombies off the objective, which I don't hate. This objective now is going to be flipping, and we do see the Vampire Coast pull a lead. At this point, it's basically impossible. There's not enough time for Kislev to get back on the board. I mean, if we had another 5 minutes, this game maybe you could grind out, but I still think Vampire Coast just has such an advantage on the field. They have so many more units. Doggos here going to be jumping on top of the Kossars, trying to prevent them from getting to the capture objective. And that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of a handgun fire from downtown. Going to be mowing down the remnants of the Kislev Cav. But they didn't hear no bell. They're going to be charging in, and by our blood, they will live to fight another day. All right, guys. GG, well played. What a great little match. And all hail the mighty. Certainly a very fun one. Cool builds from both players. We got to see a fully erect Queen Bess, which managed to get 1,700 value. Not bad at all. The Golden Knight was super cool. I love that. Seeing Ice Guard in action was great. A lot of fun stuff. A lot of fun stuff indeed. No, the Kislev player did not bring the halberds. Did not bring those. Yeah. All right, all right. And we are all good. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be game one here today. And let us go update these scores, make sure we're all good to go, and see where we are on the round. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun indeed. Okay. And let's see what the undefeated players look like. All right, all right. GG, well to the played. And undefeated players so far. I would expect the dreaded Outer Region to be there. Yeah, Outer Region, Boss Toss, B6, Tom, Taggy, Navigator, Stingers, Lahooch, Silvio, Bull, and Mattis are undefeated. And are we ready for the next round? We got, yep, that was actually the last game. Queen Bess got 1,700 value. Kislev is fun, dude. They're very fair now. They're very fair and balanced, yeah, in my opinion. I mean, they have some elements of their roster that are insanely strong, but I mean, I haven't had any stress playing against Kislev. Even with weaker factions, it's like, you know, I feel like I can consistently beat Kislev with like Skaven, with Warriors of Chaos, you know. Yeah, undefeated Dowie. Your odds of seeing Dowie in top 4 are extremely high. Outer Region is very, very good. Very, very good. What's that, guys? Just responding to a message here. Okay. Okay, perfect. So a little bit of admin there. And cool beans. So refresh this, and then we should advance the round. I feel like Outer Region is always... Oh, I mean, he's one of the best players in the world. So, yeah, of course he's going to be in the final stages. Let me tell these players to report the score. Because for some reason... okay. So who won that game? That would have been Leechlord, right? You got to report the score so we can advance the round. Come on, buddy. You got to do it. It feels so incredible to play them on tabletop. Yeah, Kislev will come eventually, I think. I think we probably get Grand Cathay first in tabletop, if anything. And then Kislev maybe a couple years down the line. Because they're mentioned in like the lore books quite a bit. Go on, Leechlord. How could you forget to report your score? Come on, dog. Yeah. Yeah, tabletop's very fun though. I love playing Warhammer: The Old World. I just hope that we get a bounce pass in January, like something that just crushes big OP monsters. That would just be, I would be fully erect. Yeah. You know what would be like a good option? I think like, because you don't like want them to crush monsters into like Oblivion where they're just useless and like shit. In tabletop, I think like if they limit the amount of points you can spend on a character, right? So that if you want to bring a big overpowered dragon riding lord, that's fine. You get your big power fantasy, but you can't bring a level 4 wizard because it's too expensive, right? If only 25% of your army can be spent on characters, that would be so much better than the existing 50%, which is so dumb. Because then like you have to choose between good magic or a good character. Like I think that would be way, way better. Lucy, yeah, I'll have some advice for you in a second. Let me just advance the tournament and get this going here. And we're in round 2. All right, good luck, have fun. And who do we want to cast now? Let's do... Oh, that's a very... Let's have a little bit of sweat here. You guys want a grudge match? Stingers, lobby code, please. Yeah, we're going to do a very sweaty one here, which is going to be fun. We're going to do Stingers and Outer Region. The RTK versus the... Outer Region's one of the few top players who is an RTK. All right. Let's see here. And, okay, so Stingers and out of region. You'll probably have the lobby code. Great. So we'll find this lobby, and we should be good to go. The next round is ready. I'm excited to see if the Vampire Coast can advance on. And let me announce to all the players that we are set. Okay. And round 2. All right. So there we have it. Have you played the old world tabletop with your Empire recently? Is it? I do use Karl Franz in tabletop quite a bit. I mean, air quotes Karl Franz. I use the Franz model all the time. Magic D, thank you for the donation, and thank you so much to Alcibiades for becoming a member. Welcome, welcome. Ninth, I would probably, I didn't play Ninth Age Reaper, but I wouldn't be surprised to hear that. Were there any standout units from the DLC? Yeah, so if we look at the DLC, we can talk about the major winners real quick for multiplayer. So for greenskins, Gorbad is a very solid force multiplier, and he's very fair and balanced, which is great. Savage Orc Shaman and Wurzag are also very good choices with the new Mumbo Jumbo dance. It's very good. Night Goblin Boss is incredibly powerful. I personally think that Snagla is a trap for domination mode. I think he's more of a land battle character, but the Night Goblin big bosses are really big standouts. Black Orcs with shields are very, very good also. Like, something about them, they just seem to perform super well in a lot of matchups. Aside from that, you know, Mangler Squigs are fine. Colossal Squigs are really good and fair and balanced too. I mean, honestly, most of the stuff is fine now. But the most overpowered stuff, if that's kind of what you're looking for, are Pigback Riders. They're just like stupidly effective for their cost. Pigback Riders should cost the same as Nobblar Trappers, which is 500. They're literally 100 gold undercosted. And also the Thunder Tusk is probably one of the most broken monsters in the entire game. Yeah, so those would be the big standouts. And honestly, yeah, Wrathmongers are like S tier now too. Like, they're really good, the corn monsters. Chad Outer Region giving me the lobby code here. Thank you, buddy. So we can get in the lobby and enjoy each other's company. Okay, there it is. And here we are. All right, so let me read through some of the comments I missed. How do you feel about... Khorne is definitely an upper tier faction, Skaven Dan. Yeah, they're very good. I think the Skull Cannon cost increase was a very good change. I don't think Wrathmongers are as problematic as a lot of people think. But Khorne is like an S tier faction. S tier, maybe like an A+. I think the only S tier factions are probably Ogres and Slaanesh at the highest level. Although time will tell, it's too early. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, so painting tips with the Death Guard. So let me scroll up and see here. Borain says this is the first time Kislev has felt like a regular faction to fight against. I agree with you. I agree. So when it comes to your Death Guard models, let me know what scheme you're doing, and then I can give you advice. Are you doing traditional Death Guard green? Because if you are, I can give you tips. But if you're doing an alternative scheme, I don't have too many pro tips for you, unfortunately. Let me know, and I'll respond. What makes Thunder Tusk so strong? Okay, so the big problem with the Thunder Tusk is its Howdah. On top of the Thunder Tusk, there's a Ogre Hunter, basically. And he's throwing an anti-large javelin, which just does a disgusting amount of damage. So even if you're like, oh, the Thunder Tusk is an anti-infantry monster, I can go in and fight it with my big guy. You're not going to have a good time because you get hit by the Thunder Tusk and you get hit by the rider on top who's like throwing the fat anti-large javelins right in your face. That is the big problem. So the Thunder Tusk with its current kit in Domination, I don't know if it's a problem in land battle, but it should probably cost like, I don't know, 300 or 400 more gold. It should be a drastic price difference from the Stonehorn, which is like basically the same cost. They need to be like split up a little bit, in my opinion. Yeah. How would you feel about Lords being allowed to get certain skills for a point cost? Scrag got buff Gorgers, but I wish other specializations could exist. Yeah, that would actually be very fun, Pepper. I don't think it's going to happen in this game because it would be a lot of development effort, but that is a cool idea. Another thing that I would always be an advocate for is... every single faction, I think, personally, should be getting army abilities. Like, it's stupid how some factions have army abilities and others don't. It's just not fair. It's like, because most of the factions aren't balanced with, like, the army abilities in mind, as far as I can tell, right? It's just... And then, like, some armies just get, like, a free nuke or, like, free spells or a free heal. I think every single faction of the game should have 3 army abilities for multiplayer. I think that would be so freaking cool. Like, what if the Empire had, like, you know, you could give the Empire a couple, right? You could do, like, Knightly orders or something, right? Or like something that buffs like the charge bonus of a knight. So like if you have an Empire Knight charging, you can sound the horn, or like some sort of a special horn, and it would, give your knights on the map a charge bonus. Or let's say like you want to do like a gun line, so like a Nuln army ability that would give your guns like a faster reload time. Like there needs to be, I think that would be it's such a missed opportunity. Every faction in the game should have like 3 army abilities. I think it would be so fun. It would be so flavorful. At this point in the game, it would probably mess up balance since, But yeah, I don't know. I wish that was a thing. I really do. This matchup is dwarf favored? I don't know, actually. I haven't seen it in a while. Historically, it's been pretty good for high elves in the olden days of Warhammer 2 and like land battle and whatnot. But I don't know about now. It's not a matchup you see terribly often, so yeah. Yeah, every faction should get a couple army abilities, man. I think so. Okay, so if you're painting like out of the box Death Guard, I like save yourself a million years and spray prime them with Death Guard green, because otherwise you're gonna have to go through a very meticulous process of manually doing Death Guard green on every single one of those guys, right? So usually like a very simplistic scheme I do is I spray prime my Death Guard green, you let it dry. And then before I paint on other colors, I wash the entire model in Agrax Earthshade. So spray prime, Death Guard green, let it dry, wash the entire model in Death Guard green. And then for all the golds and all the trim, I use Balthazar Gold, which is like a very dark kind of beaten brass. So I use that. And then, any metallics, you can use Lead Belcher, very simplistic. And then you can also go back and wash those later in either Agrax, or if you want them to be a little bit cleaner, like the gold areas, you can just use Nuln, which is very nice. But there's a lot of techniques. If you join our Discord and you can shoot myself or several of the other RT folk a message and we can help you. But yeah, that's like my baseline getting started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 2 of the tournament. Sorry about the ranting. And it is going to be the Dwarves led by Outer Region facing off against their nemesis. It is going to be the High Elves. So for the High Elf army of Stingers, it's going to be White Lines of Crace, which are the ideal infantry choice against Dwarves. They have everything you want against Dwarves. They're armor piercing, they're pretty quick, good leadership, and they have missile resist built in of 30%. And Dwarves are a very, very good missile faction. So so the White Lines of Crace, they will get their big old two-handed axes, and if they can avoid blasting charges and whatnot, they will do well. In the back, it's going to be a couple archers. Archers are good against Slayers and honestly not bad against like the chaff-centric units. We have Larry the Radiant, who's going to be using Tempest and looks like just heals. So Tempest isn't bad against Dwarves. In case they want to get Gyrocopters and get a little bit cheeky, you can shut them down very effectively with Tempest and Reaver Archers. Now for the Dwarves, we get a big Vanguard, which makes sense. Dwarves are very slow, so you want to take advantage of the Vanguard movement as well. And those miners can get in there. They got their big old beat sticks, and they can fight well enough against the elite High Elf infantry. Sure, they'll lose, but they cost half as much, so it's a good trade. On Objective 3, the Dwarves are going to be hunkering down with miners, and we do in the back have Iron Drakes with the Trollhammer torpedoes, another one here, as well as a single Dwarven bolt thrower, which is going to be putting some supporting fire down into the Reavers here. And now the Gyrocopter Corps is going to be coming out. So the Royal Dowie Air Force has arrived. Cue the music, the Flight of the Valkyries is on, and they've gone through several bouncing passes, and now I think gyrocopters are very, very good, but they're not, imba anymore. When they could fire while moving, it was basically impossible to deny them value, but now you can Tempest them and chase them and, make them suffer a little bit. So the Elves have not advanced yet. Trollhammer torpedoes are going to do big damage on the advance. We do see some Elvish Ranger flanking coming around the outside. And honestly, I don't hate the idea of pressing this objective, ignoring this objective. Screw it. If I saw that many erect dwarves sitting on objective 1, no thank you, dude. I would just come over here and press this objective. Use your elven maneuverability, create a wedge right here where the dwarves are their entire army's blocked up, and then you just swarm objective 3. That's got to be the stronger play here for Stingers. And we're going to be seeing if that is what's getting executed here. So up in the sky, we do have gyrocopters with brimstone guns coming in. Tempest already doing good damage. And now the Trollhammer torpedoes are going to be singing, and these filthy elves are going to be getting blasted into another dimension. Oh, yeah. Dwarven technology. Awesome. And yes, those White Lines of Crace do get melted pretty good, but there's going to be an Earthblood, so the foul magic. I'm sure the dwarves shaking their fists angrily at the overpowered magic. They don't have it. They try their best. But this is where it's going to get a little bit better for the Elves. The fact they were able to close the distance without taking too much damage. White Lines of Crace are going to dominate Dwarf Warriors in combat. It's not even going to be close. Up in the sky, we do have Larry diving into the backfield. A very risky play here by Stinger. Stinger's, of course, a veteran high elf player. He's an extremely good land battle player as well as domination player, which is always a cool mix. When people have those two skill sets, I think they kind of sharpen different parts of the blade. But yeah, she gets beat up pretty bad. She's going to have to use Earthbloods or some sort of fat healing, and now there's going to be a Tempest going down. Likely you'll see these two archers switch onto the Tempest target. I think that'd be quite strong. But the Dwarf Lord is going to be standing shoulder to shoulder with his Great Open Warriors and seeing if he can turn the tides of the fight. Tempest getting some really nice damage here on the Brimstone guns. And now are we going to be seeing a bombing run? Okay, looks like the Brimstone guns are sitting overhead. The archers did move up a little bit too close, so Stingers gave them a bad attack order, and they marched up a little bit too far, which is unfortunate. But the Gyrocopters are doing nasty damage in outer region with a huge bombardment right there on those archers. That was very good micro, man. He flies overhead, he nukes the archers, and then just turns around and roasts them. I mean, that is a very clean play right there. And the High Elves even brought tools to deal with Gyrocopters via the Star of Avalorn. But oh my god, I'm loving these flamethrower gyros. This is a really, really cool tech, ladies and gentlemen. It's a really cool tech. So we get more forces of Lionos coming in, so it is going to be Lions and Rangers. The Elves have not managed to steal the back objective yet. Narnia Lion's going to be pouncing into the secondary. Currently looking at the value, outer region is massively ahead on the value. Here we have some of the archers shooting into the Dwarvish infantry, but having a little bit of trouble getting through. If the Elves can find a way to compromise the gun line here, get some of the Narnia lines back here, maybe. And we do see another Tempest going down for Larry, which is going to be very, very strong, and pretty much the only thing that's doing effective work against the gyros right now. We see the archers just being literally roasted by like modern warfare technology, sort of, which is always fun to see. So Slayer's going to be bouncing out and running to intercept the Narnia Lions, which have gotten into the cookie jar. The Lions have gotten into the hen house, the metaphorical one here, as the Iron Drake Trollhammer torpedoes are ripped up by the Lions. The Slayer's going to be hot on their heels, though, so you can see the Slayer's charging up the hill here to try and catch those Lions and chase them away. And it looks like the Iron Drake Trollhammer torpedoes only lost 4 models in the process and probably will be sitting pretty comfortable here. So Stingers has rallied a couple archers, and now we see some chariots coming out. So I like this. You know, the dwarves are not really well fortified over here anymore. The war lines of Grace are doing excellent damage. It looks like they're going to be retreating back to allow for the chariots to get a big charge here. In the meantime, Larry is continuing to chase down the gyrocopters, but Larry is going to get focus fired really hard. 3 Iron Drake Trollhammer torpedoes going to be zeroing in on Larry, and she's going to be fleeing the scene, sitting at currently 850 HP. Let's see if she can survive this. Stingers better get that old micro going here as he starts juking. Both are going to be targeting her as well. Yep, everything is zeroed in on Larry. She's at 24 leadership, wavering, very, very precarious right now. But the Elves are getting good play on Objective 1. We do see the Lion Chariots of Grace doing really good work, and the Narnia Lions are wrecking these infantry units. In the meantime, at the back point, the Flamethrower Gyrocopters are doing a pretty good job melting the Elvish infantry. The Elves have been fighting very, very hard here, and they did manage to steal this objective from the Dwarves, which is quite an accomplishment. But overall, the Dwarves just have the home field advantage, and there's so many more Dwarves here. The Elves are just going to be outnumbered. They're going to be roasted by the Flamethrowers, and the stalwart Dwarven infantry, especially the Slayers, aren't going to hear any bell, and they're just going to be going all the way to the bank. So looking across the field, are the Elves going to be able to flip and maybe make a rotation over towards Objective Uno? It's hard to say. Outer region getting his flame gyros, just getting a lot of value, about 1,100 from these guys. So the bombardment runs in tandem with the flamethrowers have been super, super cost effective this game. We do see a little bit of secondary pressure coming in from the Elves. Some of the war lines or white lines of Grace were able to get back here and are pressuring the Iron Drakes back. But the Trollhammer torpedoes are mostly still online and getting a fat amount of value on the Lion Chariots here. Elves do have a lot of healing. They've been healing the entire game, so this value difference isn't quite accurate. It's probably more like a 2,000 value difference at this point, as Elven Rangers do arrive. But I mean, literally running into their counter, as we do see them getting roasted by the gyrocopters here. So the Flamethrower Gyros doing quite a bit of work. These ones are now up to 1,200 value there, as the Dwarves do stabilize their back point. Lots of unsummons going down for the High Elves here, as the Dwarves cackle all the way to the bank and are able to rout off the forces of Stinger. So they probably are going to be fleeing the scene. Trollhammer Torpedoes going to be scooting about face, trying to get range of the Chariots, obviously. But I think the Dwarves have probably got this one in the bag. Outer region is up on points, and he's super high on value. I mean, the Elves are looking so decrepit right now. They have a couple Rangers up, which I guess the Rangers can fight off these infantry, and they will uptrade into Slayers very cost effectively. Never say never. I mean, maybe Stingers will find a way to come back, because the Dwarves are all sunshine and rainbows, but as ammunition starts to diminish, maybe if they get a little bit sloppy and, oh, Doomseekers. Uh-oh. I was about to say they need something with infantry killing power, and then we see the dreaded Doomseekers. Oh, dude, these haircuts are... these guys have like 1980s flat tops almost. If you look at the Doomseekers from the back, it looks like they have like flat tops from the 1980s. You know, those buzz cuts that, not buzz cuts, but those really short haircuts where it's like completely flat on the top. But in reality, they actually just have the dreaded Italian Spartacus haircut, where they're just bald and then the hair grows on the sides. It's pretty glorious, but they're going to be charging in there, and they got their blades out. They're going to be chopping through these Rangers, no problemo. And the Elves going to be reinforcing with War Lines, which are a good counter against Doomseekers. More Rangers coming in, and are the Elves going to be able to hold their home objective? The Dwarves don't look like they're making a play for it. Granted, I think Outer Region should probably advance all these up and put the pressure there. Larry's sitting at 600 HP, drops one last Tempest on her way out. Probably going to break soon. Tempest is going to be dragging down maybe a couple of these gyrocopters. She can't even afford to stop and attack them. Another gyrocopter does spin and crash to the ground through the Elven Tempest, and the Elves are running out of steam on this objective here. So Slayer's cutting them up. Doomseekers, obviously just massive Terminators. Doomseekers are just a badass anti-infantry unit. Unbreakable, huge stopping power, and those guys get the job done. So they arrive at the point. Couple Rangers for the Elves do get there, and very good scrapping here by Stingers. I mean, he's playing great considering how far behind he is. But Larry does get karate chopped, so it looks like she finally bites the bullet, as she does get mowed down by the Dwarven firepower. We have the cannons and the bolt throwers getting a lot of value here, as gyrocopters do fly overhead and are scorched earthing these. Look at this, just like this chariot, just the primitive technology versus a literal air force with flamethrowers. I mean, what do you expect? GG, well played. Great game, fun one. Really showing powerful Dwarven positioning. He did a good job. He protected everything and played an extremely clean game. But what really won Outer Region that game was his beautiful Brimstone micro, in my opinion. That was so clean. His bombardments, the flamethrowers, routing off so many units and getting so much value on those infantry fights. So yeah, it was good. I found that while Tempest seems all right on paper against Dowie, it really doesn't do that much. Now, I think Tempest would be better with a little bit of support, Pug. Like, I think if there was another like air unit that could help kill the gyrocopters while they're Tempested, you'd get a lot more value. Because I agree with you, the Tempests were cool, but they didn't like quite finish the units off. So the units just got to do their full Monty, right? Which is tough. But yeah, GG, well played, fun game. Yeah, Trollhammers are super cool. They are really cool indeed. All right, here. All right. Just need to uninstall and reinstall it. Let's see how the tournament is looking. And we're going to refresh that. Strong words from the man with the Midwestern gym teacher look. Hell yeah, dude. I'm all about that. Okay, so a lot of games still going. I mean, that was actually one of the first games to finish, which I'm somewhat surprised about. Yeah, it's a wild one. So Dwarves are going to be undefeated here, and I'll be right back. I'm going to go fill up my water, and once again, I just want to thank you guys for joining. It's been a lot of fun so far, and many good times to come. Yes. All right, team, we're back. Yes. You guys are talking about the Skaven for, man, yeah. So even though Skaven are a legacy army for Warhammer the Old World, you can put together such an amazing looking Skaven tabletop army using the Sigmar models. It's basically the same stuff, but just updated. And honestly, they fit pretty well on the square basis from what I've seen. Let me show you guys real quick. So here we are, Age of Sigmar, Chaos, and Skaven. Yeah, so Skaven got some great looking models. I mean, this is basically the new Deathmaster. Like, it's such a good looking model. Man, can I click this? Maybe the Games Workshop's website is exploding for some reason. I can't click on it. That's weird. Okay, well, it is what it is. I guess you're just not getting clicked on. There we go. All right, it's just laggy. Yeah, check that guy out. It's so freaking good. He's got his like throwing star. He's got the weeping blade and everything. So you could just use him. And look at the Warlord up top. This like new Skaven Warlord. And the Doom players look freaking amazing. Skaven have some of the best minis. They're so good, the new Skaven minis. They have the old school Plague Claw and Doom Wheel. Those don't really need to be updated, to be honest. They have new Clan Rats. So these are the new Clan Rat units. You can see there they come with like a unit champion, and this is a named character in Age of Sigmar, but you could just use him as your warlord. So if you're playing like Skaven, you don't like this warlord? I think he looks freaking awesome. Yeah, their website is having issues right now. Dude, this guy looks so good, and he's got like a little rat minion with him. You don't like this? This guy's great. Yeah, he's like a balding Skaven. Yeah, he's got like his hair, receding hairline and everything. He's one of us. He's a mid-30s dude. Yeah, it's great. Other stuff here, yeah. And they got a lot of new models. The Brood, look at the Brood Terror too. They got the new Warplock Jazales. A Rattling Warp Blaster obviously isn't a fantasy model, but you got the new Globadiers, I think. Yeah, these are the new ones. I'm trying to click this shit. It's not working. Games Workshop, why are you like this? There they go. Oh, look at how good those are. Those are so good. You'll always have a head full of hair. I think so too, actually. My mom's side of the family has full heads of hair, but my dad's side has some baldness, but I didn't inherit that, so I think we're good. All right. Yeah, it looks pretty great though. Like I'm really tempted to start a Skaven army in tabletop, even though they're literally one of the worst factions in Old World. I think I don't really care. Once Games Workshop does a bouncing pass and nerfs monsters, Skaven will be in a much better place. That is for sure. Like, let's see. So the new Storm Vermin look awesome. Yeah, too bad Storm Vermin are so terrible in Old World. The new Fulgur model, yeah, it looks cool. I think I'm much more of a Mortarion enjoyer, but yeah, I'm definitely more of a Mortarion enjoyer. Look at your mom's father if you want to know how your odds of... Yeah, no, my grandpa had like a full head of hair till the day he died, yeah. He was powerful. Yeah, so this is what Skaven look like in Warhammer Fantasy. Warlord, Chieftain, Greyseer, Warlock, Engineer, Master, Assassin, Plague Priest, Storm Vermin, Clan Rats, Rat Swarms, Giant Rats, and Night Runners. Special units, you have Gutter Runners, Rat Ogres, Warplock Jazales, Poison Wind Globes, and Plague Monks. And then you have rare units, which is Hellpit, Doomwheel, Warp Lightning, Plague Claw, Catapult, and Sensor Bearers. You can also take mercenaries. You can take Ogre mercenaries with pretty much every faction, but that's mainly what the Skaven look like in tabletop. Yeah. Early 30s, the airline is requesting clearance for takeoff. Yeah. Yeah, you ain't kidding. All right. And we do have one game that's running a little bit behind, unfortunately, because they had issues. We'll give them a break. You know, whenever there's a new map pack update, it takes people a couple days to figure it all out. But yeah, we have another probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the next round starts. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. If there's anything you want to see, any builds. If you guys want builds, I can do that for you right now. If you're like a newer player looking for some builds, I know most matchups to an extent. Doomwheel's still awesome. I don't know if Doomwheels are good. Are they? Let's find out. So if we take a look at this, Doomwheels are rare. Okay, 145 points. And what are you getting for 145 points? Okay, random movement is really sketchy, but it can be very good because sometimes they just move up to 18 inches. Strength 5, toughness 5, 4 wounds. Okay, not as good as like the new Empire War Wagon, for example. So what does it have? Okay, so it has crushing bulk, which means I believe it's impact hits. Okay, it's like a chariot. So it has impact hits at -2 AP. Oh, do the rats do random attacks? Oh, interesting. So you get a bunch of little rat attacks. You get up to 12 attacks from little rats that like are running in the Doom Wheel, I guess. It gets stomp attacks, and what does Zap do? At the end of every shooting phase, after all shooting has been resolved, place up to 3 blast templates. Okay, so it has like a weird artillery shooting effect as well. It seems a bit haggard to me, but I could be wrong. Sneak peek high school football game video again? Oh god, no. Maybe someday. How on earth are Wood Elves supposed to fight Dwarves? Wood Elves actually compete with Dwarves pretty well. Yeah, it depends. You know, like, you can do a lot. I mean, Wood Elves are one of my worst factions, so I don't know them super well. But if I was playing against Dwarves, I would probably do something along the lines of this. So obviously you go for a Spellweaver, right? We'll figure out the magic later, but Spellweaver probably on an Elven Steed. And High Magic for Tempest is kind of a cute idea, but bringing Gyros against Elves is stupid anyways. So probably either going to go for Lore of Beasts for Flock of Doom spam, or you're going to go for Lore of Shadows with Pit of Shades and just like nuke like archers and things like that. So we're going to do Elves versus Dwarves first. That's going to be the first one, right? So I'd probably go Flock of Doom spam, although Pit of Shades can be a real big game changer. You could do Pendulum too, because Dwarves tend to line up like that. So you could do like Pendulum and Melkoth. It wouldn't be bad. All right, so Blessing of the Ancient, Smoke and Mirrors, Loix Blessing. You cut all that shit, put it on a horse. It's only 1,000 gold, which is a pretty sweet deal. So from here, you're going to probably want Eternal Guard as your core. I really don't dislike the Deepwood Scout, Swift Shiver Shards. They can do a lot, but I think just like Mass Starfire Shafts are going to be very strong. Because if the Dwarves don't have artillery, Starfire Shafts just farm value. It's very, very good. In reserves, you're probably going to want Mass Glade Riders to shut down archers. And then I would probably go like double Stagnite. Like as a mid-game call-in, I think they're going to be very, very disruptive. And just to make sure I get the advantage on Dwarves initially, probably go double Glade Rider. Just so I can get the objectives and get a points lead on them. You know, that's going to be the direction I go. So from here, I might even just go with like 2 of these guys. And double Waywatcher, something like this. Right, this is like a pretty nasty start against Dwarves. They're going to take a ton of damage. And now... This matchup used to be harder, but you have Wildwood Rangers now. So you can have Wildwood Rangers. Maybe 1 Stagnite would probably be adequate. So triple Wildwood Ranger. And from there, you can even go War Dancers. They trade very well. Dryads are fine too out of the Vanguard. So you could do Dryads out of Vanguard, a couple Eternal Guard. Like something like this is very simplistic and would probably work pretty easily. Work pretty well. Again, everything you do in domination mode is map dependent, right? Like it's... is it a home objective map? Is it a contested objective map where everything is in the middle? Like these are all variables you need to be aware of when you're doing your build. Any advice on to Khorne into Ogres? Sure, I got you, homie. So you're playing Khorne into Ogres. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to bring Valkia because she is just the Terminator against Ogres. Use Sleipnir and Demon Shield. Sleipnir, you use that to kill their Pigback Riders, right? So for the infantry core, you probably want to go Marauder heavy. Just like shielded Marauders backed up by Khorne Gores. But you can also use the Khorne Gores in the secondary if you want to and just have like, more of a Marauder-centric army and have Khorne Gores be the reinforcements. Definitely want some throwing axes out of the gates, probably a couple of those. And then from here, yeah, I think you want to open with Khorne Gores just to get on the objectives quickly. And something like this looks pretty good for starters. You can get like a Flesh Hound in there too to go run up and grab the objectives quickly. Skull Cannons are okay against Ogres. They do okay. But Furies are definitely your best friend because they shut down Lead Belchers. You want to get Khorne Gores maxed out there. Wrathmongers are actually not bad. You can mess with them. But the big problem is going to be dealing with the Thunder Tusk. But with Thunder Tusk, you can usually deal with it with Valkia and Throwing Axes and Khorne Gores and Minotaurs with Great Weapons. So probably double Minotaur, Great Weapon, in reserve. You're going to want more Flesh Hounds. They're very good. And... trying to think what else is like really essential. Maybe like a 4th Horseman would be very nice. And I think you need a couple more infantry to call out. So you could throw in like 1 Halberd Warrior and 1 1 Dual Weapon Warrior just to have a clean spend. Something along the lines of this. This would be good. Right? You have really good objective pressure. You have good grinding with the Khorne Gores. You got the Minotaurs to call in to help deal with the big threats. Marauder Horseman. Valkia can hunt down big threats. Seems like a pretty clean build to me, honestly. There's other ways to approach this. Like you can use Skull Cannons if you want to. You can go, if you wanted to, you could do something like this, right? If you wanted to get real cheeky, you could go double Skull Cannon. So you have a double Skull Cannon opening, right? And then you cut this, probably, and cut you. And then you would just go Khorne Gores in reserve. This is a very viable playstyle too. On some maps, the Skull Cannons are going to flatten a ton of Ogres and get you a ton of value. This is a whole different playstyle, though. I recommend the first build for ease of access. Yeah. All right, cool beans. So let's see how we're looking. And if you guys have any more build questions, let me know. I'm happy to address that. Where's the Khorne War Shrine? Oh, God, dude. No. Not in that matchup. The Khorne War Shrine is actually decent in against like Undead, against Vampire counts, yeah. Yep, handful of games still to be played. Leech Lord defeated Lahoot. Outer Region is victorious in his match to Stingers, which is what we casted. Tom defeated Silvio, and still a handful of games to be played here today. Yes. What about Slaughterguard versus Ogres? You could throw Slaughterguard in as like a late game call-in. You don't want to bring Slaughterguard early, Jordan, Because if you do, the ogre player is going to sit there with like a full belly and just when they're in position, their shooting is online, they're going to be able to deal with it. On some maps though, yes. Like if you're on, let's say, a Ragnarok Lair, having a Slaughter Guard in your opening build would be very strong against ogres because you would just use it on the low ground objective where it can't be shot with line of sight shooting, and then you like kind of creep it up from the side and get good value. So yeah, Slaughter Guard are very viable against ogre kingdoms. But you don't want to bring it in your on like open field maps. Ogres have very good shooting. Typically, what ogre armies are going to have is they're going to have like 2 lead belchers against you. It's going to be mass pigbacks, thunder tusk, lead belchers, and more noblars, and it's very tough. Yeah, counter Slanesh's dwarves. I second this. Oh god, I don't know if that's possible. Oh, man, okay, dwarves versus Slaanesh. It depends on the map, you know. But probably like a very wide build. I would recommend maybe like a Thoric Iron Chad. Probably put him on the anvil, and we get rid of this. We're gonna do Rune of Wrath and Rune of Slowness. Right, so that's very good. You could take the anvil, but I don't think you need to. Cut all this, bring him at 1700. So against Slaanesh, you don't want to present them with anything good, right? You want to just present them with absolute trash house units. So nothing above warrior tier, in my opinion. You need to go great weapons in case they go for Hellstriders. And from here, there's a couple directions you can go. But like this is like your core starting build. I do like a couple Doomseekers in reserve, actually. Because Doomseekers are really killy against demons. So you could do that. You can't really get away with bringing Gyrocopters because Slaanesh is just going to rampage them and or use Furies to kill them. The armor-piercing Furies, it feels really bad. So, like, a single cannon can be very good. You could do, like, 1 cannon to shoot at Seekers and, like, the expensive Cav. And then you can mix in some Rangers in here if you want to. You could even choose to go a little bit more expensive and use Bugman's Rangers because they're going to be a little bit more resilient, right? And then you can go, like, something like this. And from here, yeah, Dwarf Warrior great weapons. Miners with blasting charges need to be maxed out. I guess you could feasibly do some Brimstone guns. It's risky, but if you're able to defend them from the ground, which is super hard to do, but you can also land them on the ground and use them as flamethrowers. Let me put it this way. If you have very good micro, the Brimstone guns are probably a good choice. But if you're like intermediate or newer, I wouldn't recommend it. All right, so from here, you could probably bring out the Long Drong's Pirate Slayers. They're just very good. Like a Thunder unit isn't necessarily a bad choice, and then just like a couple of Dwarf Warriors or something. Like something along these lines would be my option. Gunhound, he says, pumped for Civilization coming out in February. I'm hoping my 65-hour work weeks I've been pulling will slow down. Yes, Gunhound, I will happily play that with you. I'm very excited, buddy. What's my favorite model from tabletop? Of all my tabletop armies, my favorite model is probably my Bone Dragon that my wife painted for me. My Demogryph Knights. I love the Demogryph Knights. I think they're super cool. The General of the Empire or Grand Master on a horse, and he has a raven on his shoulder. That model is super good. Of the Empire with Raven. Yeah, there's an old school General of the Empire model in tabletop, and he has a raven on his shoulder, and it looks super cool. It's one of my favorites. Why are Great Weapons better against Hellstriders? Okay, so here's the thing. If you don't bring Great Weapons, what's going to happen is you might run into a Chaos Warrior armor check, and then you're just going to be destroyed. So bringing the Great Weapons is more hedging your bets. Because a Shielded Warrior will be slightly more durable, but like I think it's better just to bring the Great Weapons just to be safe in case you do face armor, you know? Yeah. Yeah, so that's just my 2 cents. The Bone Dragon, that's right. Think CA will ever make a good ranked ladder? No, absolutely not. Not in this game. And I think in future games, the ladder will be improved because I think they've learned their lessons and it's an easy fix down the road. But Total War Warhammer 3 is not going to get better than it is now. Yeah. Ain't that just one of the Elector counts? All right. Let me see if I can find the model. General of the Empire on horse, Warhammer 8th edition. Where's the Raven guy? I mean, I think I have a picture of mine laying around somewhere. I've shown it on streams before. Yeah. We're just banning Slaanesh today because they're extremely powerful, and without a pick and ban system, they have a massive advantage because they don't really have any bad matchups. So We're just doing it today. Like, I don't think it's going to be a permanent fixture, but just for today, we're banning Slaanesh. Yeah. Because Seekers are just a little bit cracked. Yes, yes. Aren't regular miners terrible? They're not great, but they're like so freaking cheap that if a Slaanesh player like allocates any resources to them, it's just like they hold a long time. They have 80 armor. Like they're basically just an HP sponge, and they have 5 capture weight. So it's mainly like a capture weight contesting thing. You know, that's my 2 cents with that. All right, let's see what the Rock is cooking with the brackets. Sorry about the longer rounds. We had some mix-ups with the mods. Okay, so B6 and Navigator are playing their game, and then we should be good. All right, so I'm going to message them to let me know when they're done. Let me know when done. And then Navigator is playing as well. Yes, yes. Oh, a different version of the game. Okay. Cool beans. Yeah, Vanguard's also super useful. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't mention that, but Vanguard is very important on miners too. Being able to get just things up in the points that are hard to kill is always nice. One of the Elector accounts had a Falcon. Okay, man. Where can I find a picture of that General of the Empire? It was on my old computer. Let me see if I can find it here somewhere. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be able to right now. Do you think Bretonnia is underplayed due to mass cab? Yeah, so here's the thing. Bretonnia was already a low mid-tier faction, right? And then Creative Assembly launches a DLC, which buffs literally just 3 factions to annihilate heavy cav. They're like, okay, we're going to buff Skull Crushers, make them faster and stronger. We're giving you some of the most cost-effective infantry in the game with halberds via Khorngors, right? Like, so Khorne just shits on Bretonnia. They already did, and now it's even worse. And then they're like, oh, Ogre Kingdoms, how about that? Let's give Ogre Kingdoms. And this isn't a criticism of CA even. It's just that it just happened to be 3 factions got things that just wreck Bretonnia. Like you got Pigback Riders, which basically hard counter Bretonnia. You have Yetis, which are super good against Bretonnia. Armor piercing, they slow them down so they can't escape you or cycle charge. Bretonnia literally, I don't think it's possible to kill a Thunder Tusk. Like I don't know how Bretonnia is going to kill a Thunder Tusk, right? And then Greenskins. Greenskins were already super good against Bretonnia because Boarboy Cav are just uber cost effective. At 650, like a Boarboy Cav is going to trade so well into a Knight of the Realm or a Knight Errant. And yeah, so it's just, you got Mangler Squigs, Colossal Squigs, like lots of stuff there. So yeah, and Vampire Counts also got Halberds on the Graveguard. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff there that just is not good for Bretonnia. So Bretonnia is definitely in the pits of the meta. And they'll probably stay that way for a long time. I don't see them being changed. Rot Knights just beat Grail Knights 1v1 in Ferdinand's test. No, I'm not surprised to hear that. Yeah, Rot Knights did get some buffs. They're still not amazing. Grail Knights, I think, are a lot faster than them, right? Rot Knights have how much speed? Rot Knights have 75 speed's pretty good, actually. Yeah. You know, Bretonnia also got nerfed because I think folks in Land Battle felt they were like Hippogriffs and Grail Knights were overpowered, so they got nerfed in Land Battle. They didn't need that for Dom. So that was like basically Domination Bretonnian players caught astray from Land Battle in that situation. Yeah. And Bretonnia is so hard to play too. Like it's very like sure you can win, but it's such a high effort faction that I think most people just avoid them because it's like, you know, you have to put in so much work. Like when I've played Bretonnia, I have to work so much harder to get wins against equally skilled players than I do playing like any of the Chaos factions or anything like that. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, the HP nerf was pretty tough. Yeah, they lost like I think 800 to 1,000 HP or something close to that ballpark. Bretonnia, you got people's elbowed. Yeah, it's pretty apt analogy for sure. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't even know if I was playing Bretonnia against freaking Ogre Kingdoms. Let's see. How am I even gonna do a build? Probably need to go Lewin, right? So you go Lewin on Beaky here on his bird. You want that. You want that. You probably don't need Lion Shield. Sword of Groan you can keep. And probably peasant mobs in the front. Backed up by Spearmen at Arms, backed up by Halberds, but then your infantry killing power is just so freaking awful. That's like part of the problem, right? Like you're just not going to effectively kill Pigback Riders which is just rough. You go damsel here, and maybe you got to use your damsel to kill the pigbacks. So maybe, what about this? You like Wind Blast and Uran's Thunderbolt, right? You cut this, cut this, cut this, go this way, and do we bring Green Knight to try and kill Thunder Tusk? I don't even know if it's possible. I think you just go Archer from here. And I mean, you could use some Yeoman Archers out of the gates to try and grab the objectives. Yeah, maybe like 2 Yeoman. This probably... No, I'm not playing today. No, we're just talking about the build. As Skaven, how do you handle Furies, Crumb, and Harpies getting on your weapons teams? So in those matchups, Jay, you don't really use a lot. You don't use more than one weapon team. You know, this would probably be my opening against Ogres, followed up by Knights of the Realm. Knights Errant are going to be trash because they're just going to die to Pigback Riders. Knights of the Realm can at least isolate some Ogre units, but you're going to need more killing power against infantry because of Pigbacks. So probably, like, honestly, just a full Battle Pilgrim spread would be my go-to. And I think you need to find a way to mix in a Grail Relic in that opening build. Yeah, you probably need one for that middle objective fight. Pole Arms. And Pegasus Knights wouldn't be the worst choice in the world. I don't hate that. And then you just kind of use your 300. Something like this. Alberic is nice, but he doesn't heal himself. So Lewin heals himself, and that allows you to bring a damsel to kill pigbacks. So the entire game, your one option needs to be massacring pigback riders using Wind Blast and Uran's Thunderbolt. Round is done. Thank you, Ben. You're the man. You are the man. Okay, so we're going to refresh this. Round is done, and let's advance the Swiss. Thank you guys all for joining. It's been fun, man. Hope you guys had a good Christmas. I had a great one with the lovely wife, and now I am hanging out with you guys here. All right. So where's this? And it is go time. So announce round 3. There we go. All right. So for round 3, we could do... Who have we not casted today? That's always fun to watch. Oh, we could do Harrison and For Poland. That'll be fun. Lobby code. Harrison and For Poland are both great players. So we will do that. And let me find For Poland. All right. So there we go. Yeah, you had a good Christmas and your birthday. Oh, you're one of those. You got the double threat. So let me ask you this: if you have your birthday and Christmas at the same time, like the day after, does your family like take the lazy approach and they just like double up all your gifts? They're just like, yeah, this is your Christmas and your birthday all in one, or is it more like they have 2 separate kind of partitions for that? Oh, I appreciate that, Pepper. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Completely against their lore and their playstyle, not every faction needs. Oh, you're talking about for Britannia. Okay. They just need to give Britannia a rocket launcher. You know, just something to nuke the big monsters with. Just a Grail cannon. Okay. And joining the lobby. Is there no password on this one? Hopefully they're both in there. All right. So this is going to be Harrison and For Poland. I believe we've had different factions every game today so far. I'm trying to keep it that way. Nurgle versus Lizards. Hey, this is fun. Oh, are we on the Hashit's oil fields for this map? So round 3 is... No, this is Altar of the Champion. It should be Altar of the Champion. Yeah. You're on of Champ. All right, just messaging the players so they don't get the wrong map. Someone is asking how to counter Dowie Air Force with greenskins. Okay, yeah. Remind me after this game, and we'll go do a build. Right now, it's tricky because I don't have it in front of me, but I could loosely tell you, but greenskins can definitely deal with Dowie Air Force. If you just bring like 1 or 2 bolt throwers, you could probably are fine. All right. My wife has a birthday 2 days before Christmas. I double up one nice gift for both. Nice. Fair play. My sister's birthday is very soon. Occasionally, my parents double up her gifts if they're giving her something like something big. Fair play. So they combine the value of the 2 events and get one bigger gift. Okay. Respect that. A Haggard wood cannon that launches wood elves. Yeah. How are you supposed to use man-eaters with pistols? So man-eaters with pistols are a support unit that you put behind your Noblars. So like if you have a front battle line of Noblars and then pigbacks, you would have like 2 man-eater pistols behind them in some matchups and just have them like shoot at the enemy cav and just accrue value behind Noblars. And then like if somebody tries to break through your Noblars with brute force, you can countercharge them with the pistols. But yeah, more of like a kiting / support unit that also happens to have decent fighting prowess, I would say. Hopefully that answers your question. Bretonnia have bombards in tabletop. Well, it's kind of cheating. In tabletop, Bretonnia has a special army called like the Bretonian Exiles. So it's a bunch of disgraced knights and Bretonians who use cannons. It's a super cheesy list. So the Bretonian Exiles is really cheese. But yeah, it's basically like just like it's like playing Empire. That's stronger because you get Pegasus Knights and a Duke and stuff. Bretonnia uses loads of cannons on their ships. Yeah, it is kind of strange, right? Yeah. Waking up to us, it's going to be a good day. That's right, Daryl. We're just getting going, man. We got Lizards versus Nurgle on the Altar of the Champion. The next map is one of our new maps. Not this one, but next round we're going to be doing one of the new maps, which is the Oil Fields of Hashut. It almost inspired me to play Chaos Dwarfs today, but I wanted to get some faction diversity on today's stream, see some variety there. Yeah, Pegasus Knights are super busted, but the lone Bretonian characters riding the Royal Pegasus are really problematic. They're so strong, man. Bretonnia should have an anti-large ballista. Yeah. You pray for the Dreadsaurian. Against Nurgle, that is not out of the realm of possibility. Nurgle does not like fighting Dreadsaurians. It becomes a rock, paper, scissors. The situation is, can Nurgle keep their unholy hand grenades, their Rotfly with death heads online? And if they can, they typically win it. But if the Lizardmen can shoot them out of the sky and protect the Dreadsaurian carries the game. That's very much the dichotomy of this matchup. Yeah. Would you ever use Skull Crushers instead of Minotaurs with great weapons? In a couple matchups, I would consider it, yes. Because Skull Crushers are way more durable. They have 130 armor, and I believe they have more HP too. I'm not sure. Minotaurs are very good though, but the Skull Crushers are also solid now. I think there's an argument to be made for them. Bretonnia need Foot Knights and Truffle Hounds. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the skirmisher rules in Old World Melody, yeah. Thankfully, one of my main competitive armies for Old World is Tomb Kings, and they don't give a shit about minus the hit penalties. Tomb Kings in Old World have a really nice rule that it's called the Arrows of Asaph, where no matter if they're far away, up close, they move, they never take a penalty for shooting, which is super nice. So a lot of factions shooting will be hitting you on 6s because you get a penalty respectively for shooting at long range. You get a penalty for moving typically. But Tomb Kings can move and shoot at long range and they'll hit you on a pretty good value. Tomb King shooting is God tier. Yeah, it's very, very good. Like there's competitive Tomb Kings lists in tabletop that literally run like 12 Ushapti Great Bows and just like cackle and sit in the back. Yeah. Well, the whole idea is that the god, Asaph, the Tomb King's god, blesses their arrows so that they're like super accurate. Yeah. But Bretonnia Knights should probably have Glorious Charge. Yeah, if anybody should have Glorious Charge, it should be Bretonnia Knights. That would maybe be a good buff. I think in Dom, I don't think it would be a problem. I think that maybe not Knights Errant, but like anything above a Knight of the Realm, if they gave it Glorious Charge, Bretonnia might be back on the menu. Now, I don't know about the implications for land battle because cycle charging and that type of stuff is more degenerate there. Yeah, I don't know the implications, so it need to be tested very heavily, but I honestly wouldn't be opposed to it. All right, guys, let's take a look at the build of Harrison. Oh, it's going to be Tehenoin. We got Lizard Moses up here with his tablet, and he's going to be rocking Flock of Doom and the Burning Alignment, which got buffed, by the way. I haven't seen it, but it does, I believe, just go faster now. So this is super hype. So we got Lizard Moses up here, beating people down with his tablet, which is great. He's got the 10 Lizard Commandments. We got the Bastillodon with the Rev Crystal in the back. Obviously, you need some healing if you're going with Lore of Beasts. We have an Ancient Salamander to roast Nurgle Infantry. Skirmishers up in the front, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be it. Now, looking at the forces of Nurgle and for Poland, he is going to be rocking a Plague Bearer core. Plague Bearers are pretty okay against dinos. The only downside is they're pretty much, extremely vulnerable to missile play. So skirmishers and salamanders and things like that can cook them. Oftentimes you see warriors instead of Plague Bearers. Like shielded Chaos Warriors I think are slightly more cost effective, but Plague Bearers are honestly fine too. And we do have shielded warriors in the mix, 2 of them. We got a Chaos Sorcerer. He's going to be rocking Rancid Visitations and Fleshy, so looking to have a sniping kit. And it's going to be a Chaos Sword of Nurgle. These guys are Giga Chads. Extremely good fighters. Huge HP pool. Really, really, really just meaty dudes. They get in there and do some work for sure. All right, guys. And that's going to be it. Good luck. Have fun, everybody. And the battle is going to be on the dinosaurs using their vanguard. They're little slippery lizard creatures to advance up on the objectives very quickly to steal the points for Poland. As we do see the Marauder Horsemen circling about face, looking at where they want to strike, but no opportunities have presented themselves. You pretty much have to bring Marauder Horsemen. If your opponent goes Red Saurian, you don't have Marauder Horsemen, you're going to have a bad time. It's not going to be fun. But yeah, Lizards are doing pretty good on the objective game out of the gates, and they're going to get one. And we do see the Lizard Moses advancing up. We're pretty much just here for the burning alignments, like the big ion cannons being called in by the Lizard Men. It's pretty insane. Like when you look at Warhammer Fantasy, like the technology difference between like different factions and like how they just somehow, have even fights. Like lizards are literally calling in like an ion cannon from space, and dwarves have like a literally like World War I, World War II era technology, right? Fighting against barbarians wearing leathers, and they have like guns and like, it's just, I don't know, it's hilarious. It's what makes it fun, It's supposed to be ridiculous. So Ancient Salamander ripping a big shot there and getting some good value. Yeah, and like Chaos Dwarves, mind you, are literally using like just mega weaponry. Yeah, lizards with lasers, that's right. So the Marauder Horsemen aren't going to have a good time here. The Skink Skirmisher should be able to kite them effectively, assuming the lizards reinforce them, which I don't know if they are. It doesn't look like there's any infantry going there, but the Salamander should be probably charging into the Marauders here. It has pretty good combat prowess and melee. But yeah, these Skink Skirmishers are very cheap, much cheaper than the Marauder Horsemen, so if they can trade evenly, it's a win for the dinos. Now, up in the point, we do get our first battle here, as we get the big Chungus in there, and he's there on his Stegodon. He's going to be ripping apart the Plague Bearers. And it is time for the first Flock of Doom to come out. Very good Flock of Doom. That's going to be nailing 2 units here. So it hits the Plague Bearers and the Warriors, which is a mega win. And right now, I am sure that Harrison is just fishing for a juicy burning alignment. So yeah, this is a very smart play by Harrison to ignore this. And what needs to happen for Poland is he needs to bring 2 of these units over here and just leave 1 unit on this objective. And it looks like he's doing that right as I say that. So very well played. Oh, let's go. Talk dirty. Here it comes. The burning alignment's going to be cooking. And the Beam of Doom. Oh no, the Plague Bearers are going right through it. Oh man, that's going to be so much HP damage. So look at the HP loss on the Plague Bearers, man. They just got melted up by that burning alignment, which is awesome. So Tzeentch is now in combat versus the Chaos Lord. The Chaos Lord does pop the Father of Blades, which is going to make him quite a bit stronger, and Rot or Die. So Homeboy gets damage reflection and leadership, which is helpful, but really the damage reflection, I guess, isn't that good here? I don't know. But the Chaos Sword is winning the fight, which is to be expected. Tzeentch is a good duelist, but the Chaos Sword's a little bit on a higher level. And on the flank objective, Lizards do own this right now, as we see Ripperdactyls being called out. Ripperdactyls are essentially a hard counter against Chaos Furies. They'll kill them extremely quickly. And gotta watch out for the Marauder Horsemen, though. The Marauder Horsemen throwing axes could do some work. So in the mainline fighting, the forces of the dinosaurs are holding, and we do get Kroxigors rolling in with their spanking paddles. So here they come, and they are really good against Nurgle. Kroxigors are a pain in the butt for Nurgle to kill. They got their big old spanking paddles, and they will do some excellent armor-piercing damage if need be, and even just good damage against infantry in general with their bonus versus infantry. So Tzeentch is anchoring it down. I would say in the infantry department, the dinos are doing well, but in the monstrous department, Nurgle is actually trading very well against Lizard Moses. Taking a bit of a beat down there. Lizards do secure the outside objective, so that's really big if they can just keep the fighting that way and just keep the grind in the middle with their big monster core. That's going to be incredibly strong. Feral Cold One's going to be charging across. Saurus Warriors get surrounded, but basically when you surround Saurus, they just get even angrier and punch you even harder because they are enraged and will continue to do work. The spear line is faltering. I don't know how much I like the Saurus Spears as an infantry choice against Nurgle. I almost feel like the Cudgels would be better. But, easier said than done. So on the backside here, Ripperdactyls do overextend a little bit. They get attacked by Pestigors and by Chaos Furies, and it looks like they're going to be trying to retreat right now. Skink Skirmishers holding on to the point, and it looks like Nurgle is going to be able to overwhelm the middle objective just with sheer capture weight. So they get the job done, and I would love to see another Ion Cannon. Another Ion Cannon right down the pipe on these 2 infantry units would just be so good and tasty. As a matter of fact, one like a diagonal one like this, oh god, that would hit 4 units. I really, really hope that Harrison sees that, and we get that this game. The Ripperdactyl going to be called in, and I really like this play. So sometimes in domination, you need to kind of plan ahead, right? And in this case, by sending a Salamander over here, he's not hard committing to threatening Objective 3, but he's going to start whittling down the defender on Objective 3, at which point he's going to be able to then surprise his opponent and maybe ninja that objective in a very quick, rapid burst there. So I like that a lot. So is that going to be a burning alignment there? It looks like it is, and that's going to be hitting a lot of Chaos Warriors. Yeah, no, is he canceling it? Where did it go? Oh, he did cancel it. So it looks like he activated another ability to cancel it. But the burning alignment will come out later, I'm sure. Ripperdactyls are brutal for Nurgle to deal with as well. Nurgle is a faction that loves to just spam infantry. And Ripperdactyls are just so good against infantry units, right? So having 2 of these out on the field is going to be very nice. We do have some skinks coming up to provide buffering for the Ripperdactyls. And in the pit fight here, Kroxigors and the skinks are hanging in there, but it's a close fight. And now we're going to get the burning alignment. So let's just watch the HP this time. And are they going to get away? And here comes the Ion Cannon. It cooks a lot of the Nurgle Warriors. They take about 10-15% HP damage, and it does get the Plague Bearers down to a very low amount of health. So the Ion Cannon of the Gods doing quite a bit of work. In the meantime, Ancient Salamander has stopped going after this objective, which is very strange. I really liked that tactic. I don't know why Harrison decided to switch that up. I thought that was a good long-term investment that could pay off down the road. Harrison up in points. Nurgle's creeping up, though. Nurgle does have the double cap, so Nurgle has Objective 1. And they're also holding Objective 3. Meanwhile, the dinosaurs continue to Royal Rumble it here as Plague Toads, Battle Toads are being called in to try and rip through the Lizard Infantry. And Plague Toads will be a very good counter against like Skinks. They'll kill them, I would say, rather quickly. So up on the side objective, the Dinos do own this one, but it is being threatened by Nurgle. There's a full court press coming in from Nurgle. Nurgle does also have the value lead, so it seems like Nurgle is outvalue trading the Lizards, which is not normally the case. And there is going to be a Rev Crystal going down, which is going to be healing to Anduin. So a little bit of healing to counter this value difference. But remember, Nurgle is a fat healing faction as well. So very, very dodgy. So Ripperdactyl is going to be coming across to kill the Plague Bearers with a little bit of Javelin support. And with any luck, this objective should go to the Dinos for Lizard Moses here. But Lizard Moses has been getting hunted pretty perpetually by this Chaos Sword. Chaos Sword probably has good value. Flock of Doom going down right there. Excellent cast. Going to be hitting 2 units here, as the Lizards do meet the second wind of Nurgle, but Nurgle does get this high ground objective. Pestigors and Chaos Warriors are going to be holding that one all day. And good positioning here. You notice how for Poland is getting the Nurgle Warriors in front of the Skink Skirmishers to try and mitigate some of the missile fire and use the Silver Shields. That's very, very good tactics right there. So Colin are going to be Plague Ogres. Now, Plague Ogres are actually okay after some of the Monstrous Infantry changes. I find that Plague Ogres are actually pretty good. Not like, I wouldn't say like amazing, but they can function well. I've had a couple of competitive matches where they've gotten over 2,000 value, whether it be the anti-infantry version or the anti-large version. So I do like that choice for Poland. Objective 1 is held by Dino still. They're just kind of hanging in there with their Kroxigors and their Skinks, but now there's going to be a lot of Nurgle pressure coming in with the Plague Ogres. Battle Toads here get melted. A bit of a blunder here. Harrison does capture his opponent's Toads with spears. So Sara Spears are mixed in, the Battle Toads are going to be trampled, and Lizard Moses is going to be rampaging and sending those foul beasts back to the warp. So Lizard Moses is going to be sitting on 2,400 HP right now heading back to the objective here to try and run over the Nurgle caster. This objective, like I said, still under the control of the Dinos. On the outside, Lizards are actually stealing this one too. So this was a really good gambit here on the side that Nurgle didn't really have the tools to respond to. So the Plague Bearers basically just get ripped apart. And that one is going to be going to the Dinosaurs, who are looking to catch up on points, and perhaps they will. Also, Dinosaurs getting good momentum up here. Do see a lot of Skink Skirmishers, which are going to hard counter Pesties pretty good. Pestigors do have some built-in missile resist of 25%, but they're low armor, they still take a shit ton of damage. And you can see these Skink Skirmishers just overwhelming them. Ripperdactyl is going to be coming in. The Dinos playing the points very aggressively. Nurgle is flipping the middle, but now for Poland is going to be running into issues on the objectives probably. The Dinos are really just playing the outsides much, much better here. And it's going to be a very, very tough fight. Salamanders are in. Salamander hunting pack going to be roasting the Plague Ogres. Plague Ogres really hate this. The doctors hate this. Nurgle doctors hate this one trick, and it's being lit on fire, as these guys are getting cooked pretty good. Currently sitting at 50 armor and really, really getting roasted up. The Ancient Salamanders, or excuse me, the Salamander hunting packs also doing good damage against the Horsemen. Going to be sending them running. And yeah, kind of looking like Dinos are in a more commanding position in this game. Nurgle is just kind of desperately sending units to the middle objective, but the Dinosaurs have really heavy control of the outsides. Using their Skirmisher Corps and their Flying Air Force, Nurgle was not really able to keep pace with those guys. Is the value tracker broken? There's probably some variables that it's not tracking. But yeah, Flock of Doom probably did not show up on the value. The Burning Alignment might not have shown up on the value as well. It's a really janky thing. I don't think CA is ever going to fix it, but in another life, it would be very cool if they did. All right, so moving on in is Lizard Moses, and Homeboy setting at 2,500 value. Beautiful Flock of Doom. hits the Chaos Warriors, does not hit the Plague Ogres, but, you know, really getting the infantry is what you want to be cooking. Lizards are going to be coming on over with their Skink Skirmishers to put some focus fire down. Plague Bearers are on their way in, but there's not a fresh Riperdactyl unit by any means, but a pretty numerous one. Still out of 8 of 10 models, and they're going to be able to get a lot of damage into those Plague Bearers. Middle objective is being held by Nurgle, but it looks like it might be flipping back to the dinosaurs. Lizard Moses, he's going strong. I believe he does have a ward save ward, doesn't he? Yeah, he has what is that ability called? Not Burning Alignment, but yeah, there's a ward save one. Where is that? Yeah, the Portent of Warding, which is actually kind of nice. Over the course of a long grind, it really adds up. It basically gives everybody around him a 5% ward save, including himself, which is good. So, over here, we got ye old Plague Bearers waddling up, and they're going to be heading towards Objective Trace. So now for Poland realizing he can't just play one objective and win, he's going to be making a push for all of these. Riperdactyl's doing some cycle charging to buy time and slow down the Plague Bearers. Back in the middle combat, we do have the Plague Bearers getting overwhelmed and spanked up by the Kroxigors and by Tehennowin, so these guys having a pretty terrible time of it. Yeah, Kroxigors are such a cool looking unit. I believe Kroxigors got a new tabletop model as well. I think relatively recently they got one. They look pretty damn good. But bonking these Plague Bearers on the head, Fecundity is active, and the Pestigors and the Chaos Sorcerer moving in with the remnants of the Plague Ogres, who did appear to get a bit of a heal. Does Nurgle have any play on the outside objective? Does not look like it. Currently, Lizard's getting a big lead right now. I mean, eventually they will get the side objective, but it's going to take time. And the Lizards do respond with a beautiful ambush here. The Salamander Hunting Pack emerges, and it's just such a beautiful tech against both these units, right? Because the Salamander Hunting Packs are going to annihilate plague toads, and even though they're anti-large, they still do very good damage against light infantry, so probably honestly kill these Plague Bearers too. So you could just Benny Hill with the Skink Cohort, you could just run around the objective, maintaining capture weight, while the Salamanders eviscerate the very slow movement speed, although there's going to be a Saurus unit coming in there anyways, which will wet noodle that Plague Bearer for like 15 minutes. Nurgle does start to get some momentum in the middle. Kroxigors being pushed back by the Plague Ogres. Makes sense. And is it going to be quick enough, though? Marauder Horsemen are on the field, looking to maybe contest the outside. Mass Unsummon coming down here from Harrison, which I think is a very big mistake. These units are not great fighters, but it's still 10 capture weight you had sitting there, which you could be using to prevent Nurgle from capturing the middle. I understand getting those units back in your pool, but Skink Skirmishers are not really a unit that you want to be unsummoning, right? So I think that keeping them on the field and sitting them in the back of the objective to prevent the Nurgle capture weight, and also provide a buffering for your monsters. It's just so cost effective. It's not like a game losing mistake, but you know, if it were a closer game, it could be. So on the side point here, we do have the Plague Bearers. Eventually, maybe you're going to be able to get through these, but I don't think so. Riperdactyl should be able to give them the business, and we're going to be approaching 1,200 points. Old Grandpa Nurgle looking very beat up here, as we do see the Plague Ogres getting rot or die. I love seeing Plague Ogres in action. I think they're so freaking cool looking, but it's not going to be enough. Only 600 value from them. They're a risky pick against Lizardmen. Lizardmen have so much like javelins and shooting and salamanders, like things that just wreck those type of units. But yeah, it's not going to be enough. We got the Kroxigors, we got the Skinks in here, the Rev Crystal still providing support to Lizard Moses. Outside, not being threatened at all. By the time these Plague Bearers get to the middle objective, the game is going to be over, right? That's a 26 movement speed call-in right here. They're going to have a very, very bad time. So yeah, they're struggle city. On the side, Saurus Warriors just going to be parking. We're going to be approaching 1,300 points, and the old ones are going to be cackling this day. We got to see Gelblom's Terror do well recently. Yeah, no, the big T-Rexes are okay. I mean, honestly, against Nurgle, you could probably feasibly bring one, like a Carnosaur. I don't think it's going to be optimal by any, because Nurgle is more infantry-centric, but yeah, you might be able to get away with it. You might be able to. All right, so moving across, we got the Marauder Horsemen trying desperately to make a play for Objective 3, but the Riperdactyls and the Skinks probably will be able to keep them in check. Lizards are also really good at reinforcing objectives. They have high movement speed capture weight units, so these bad boys are going to be rocking 44. And yeah, it's just over. You know, for Poland didn't hear no bell. You know, he's going to fight to the bitter end. I love it. I respect it. But this game is 1,000% over. Yeah, there's absolutely no way Nurgle can come back. Because Nurgle's actually behind in value too, I think. The Rev Crystal healing, but it's not tracking Flock of Doom. I don't think it's tracking the Burning Alignments. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff it's not keeping tabs on here, ladies and gentlemen, as we round out and get ready to close up round 3 in today's tournament. Well played, the old ones, and Lizard Moses getting it done. Very, very fun to see between these two players. You can see this guy's covered with the rot of Nurgle, but you know, he's still going strong. He didn't hear no bell. All right, GG, well played. Itza with the dub. So the next map is going to be, okay, let's cook in here, and I'm going to refresh this. Yeah, Tanowin's campaign is fun. Yeah, it's a fun campaign. How are we doing in the round? We're actually very close to being done. That was a long game. Most of the other matches are finished. If we take a look at the tournament standings so far, let's head on over and look. So Out of Reach, undefeated. Navigator, undefeated. Leechlord, I believe, does he still have games to be played? It looks like he is the next one here. We have, I think Harrison will be undefeated also. So we'll have 3 undefeated going in, which will be Dwarves. I don't know what Navigator's playing. And Leechlord, I think, is playing Vampire Coast. So potentially an undefeated Coast player, which the Dwarves are going to be salivating to play Vampire Coast in the semis and grand finals. The Dwarves just wreck them usually. How do you feel about the Skink Oracle in this matchup? I'm not a huge fan. The Skink Oracle is a very good caster, but the Troglodyte is not very good in that matchup. Nurgle, you need infantry killing power. So typically, like, Stegodon monsters are going to be more preferable in that matchup. Yeah. Hey, happy holidays to you, Equipment. Right back at you, dude. Liked and unsubbed and then resubbed. What kind of generalist Dom build would you recommend for somebody starting out with ogres? All right, you want the most unga bunga? Like, I'm just going to cheese you and like, ogres are one of the few factions in Dom where you can bring like the same build in almost every matchup and have it be feasible, just because the couple of units are really busted. So let me show you. A generalist build, okay, in Dom. So if we're talking tournaments where these are limited to 1, you just go one of these. You go Mass Pig Backriders, including the ROR. And then probably like a couple of these guys. A Slaughtermaster with the Lore of the Great Maw. You want to keep his healing item. Belly Slapper's all right. You can cut it. I mean, you can keep that too. It's not a huge deal. And then you would just bring literally just Troll Guts to heal your big monster. Okay. So this is like the beginning of your build. From there, you know, it depends on the matchup. You would contour your ogres to deal with whatever you're fighting, like either a dual weapon or like an Iron Fist, but you could like do two dual weapons, right? And like 1 Lead Belcher and something like this, all right? Do we have any extra way to spend that 100 gold? I mean, you could also just spend the extra 100 gold on like Bull Gorger or something, but you know, whatever. You could also Chevron. So in reinforcements, you're going to want Blood Vultures. They're pretty good. You want like 3 of them, probably like 2 Saber Tusks. You're going to want probably Ogre Bulls, maybe like an Iron Gut. The Eshin Maneater is actually a pretty good call-in. And Nobblar Trappers are also nice for Vanguard pressure and like just getting like bodies up on the field very quickly. And the rest of it is kind of like this Ogre build would be good against like a ton of factions. Yeah, like any Chaos faction this is good against. Yeah. No, I wouldn't bring Golix Maneaters. They're not good enough to bring, I don't think. Like, you know, if you're playing a faction that has large, you want to throw in like a Maneater with Great Open. That's going to be pretty nice, and you can cut this and this. Eshin Maneaters are actually very good. They might seem like a meme, but Eshin Maneater has one of the strongest abilities here. It's the Marked for Eating. So it's like a free snare that has infinite uses, and he's a pretty good fighter himself. So you can bring in the Steven Seagal too. And you know, if you were playing like a faction where you need Cav, you could cut Steven Seagal and you could just get like a Cav with Great Weapons, right? Like this kind of general style here is very, very good. Yeah, so highly recommend it, boss. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Those are the forbidden arts. Yeah. Okay, Dowie dealing, Greenskins dealing with Dowie Air Force. You got it. Okay, I think we have a little time. Yeah, there's still 3 games playing, so they'll be done soon. Okay, so if we're playing Greenskins, if I was playing Greenskins against Dwarves in a tournament, just in general, I'm going to account for an Air Force, okay? What is your build, Dwarfs versus Dowie? Okay, well, we'll get to that too. But firstly, let's do this before I forget what I was talking about. Okay, so against the Dowie, for infantry, probably going to open up with some Orc Boys. Like, they do fine, right? And then I might even mix in some nasty Skulkers to flank, like, around the back. Maybe 1. Just to, like, sneak through the woods and, like, head to the backfield, right? I think that's going to be nice. I'm going to get a bunch of Air Boys. Air Boys are really cost-effective. And honestly, they can poke down, you know, the Dwarven Air Force pretty effectively. So reinforcements is going to want to be Mass Squigs, because they hate those. Mangler Squigs I've not tested yet, but in theory, they should be pretty good against Dwarves. Just having, like, a Mangler Squig is probably nice. And then you want to max out on cheap Boar Boy Cav. These guys are money against Dwarves. For 650, they have huge AP values, a really good charge bonus, and are just absolute pimps, okay? So you're going to want to go double Night Goblin Big Boss, because Squig Summons are just super nasty against Dwarves. So you're going to go double Night Goblin Big Boss. And what this means is, you can even bring a potion of healing if you want to on them. You don't need to, but you can. If you're going to be going double Night Goblin Big Boss, that means that you need to bring a Caster Lord. So Wurzag would probably be my go-to. You can keep Bonewood Staff. You can get the Fist of Gork, and you can do a Gazemork too. Just like shoot down gyrocopters if you want to, and you can also use it like an Amber Spear. You can cut this, cut this, cut this, cut this, and keep Effigy in the Mumbo Jumbo Dance. Mumbo Jumbo Dance is actually pretty good. All right, so last but not least, you can get some Unbreakable Goblin RORs if you want to just like sneak around the outside. Also in the late game, when the dwarves run out of missiles, you can call in a couple Black Orcs. Unironically, after the buffs they got, they're pretty decent, okay? So usually you can deal with the Air Force by using Air Boys with Effigy of the Git, but just in case you're really worried about it, you can do something like this, right? So you could cut you and you. And arguably, this might be better, okay? So you get Morgubs and Magi Marauders, and you get like Depth Creepers. So these are 2 Skirmish Gab units, one of which has big armor piercing. So you get 2 of them, and you run up and grab the objectives quickly to deny the dwarves initial points, and it's very, very cost effective. All right, so probably cut one of these. I think the Flapper Pump Wagons are very good against dwarves. They require a lot of micro, but 2 of those would be excellent, excellent, excellent. And what else would we need against dwarves? I think we're mostly good. You can throw in Rusty Airs if you want to, and reserves. Maybe like throw in a Night Goblin or something just with extra money. Like a build like this would be very, very nice. Ruggled's Armored are okay. Yeah, not in this matchup though. You need more. If you're going to go arrows, you want to go cheap, shitty arrows instead of like paying for an expensive quality one. But you have really good armor piercing. The Dwarven secondary line is going to suffer super hard, right? Because if they have blasting charges, you summon a squig on, like in front of them and charge their blasting charges, and just like you'll waste their blasting charges potentially, and potentially kill the blasting charge unit as well. How do Wood Elves deal with gyros and blasting charges? Well, Wood Elves use archers to answer all of those things. You just use the cheap archers, the Glade Guard. Yeah, but this build honestly would be very good against dwarves. Be very, very strong. I would feel confident playing some of the best dwarf players in the world with this build. Yeah, so give it a try. Rogue Idol, no. You guys need to calm down with this Rogue Idol shit. It's out of control. We're almost in 2025, guys. Come on. I'm casting today. We're casting all the tourney games, which is fun. All right, so we're about to hit round 4 here, which is going to be our new map. Very excited. So shout out to the Zebra for making it. Yes, yes. And if you guys got more questions, let me know. I'm kind of a jack of all trades in this game. I know everything a little bit. My mains, though, are Greenskins nowadays. Greenskins, Warriors of Chaos, and Skaven are probably my factions I've been practicing the most lately. So if you have questions. Oh, somebody asked about using Skaven against Chaos factions. Okay, so if you're a Skaven player and you're like, woe is me, my weapon teams are just getting punched in the wiener. I can't get anything online against Chaos. Let me introduce you to my good friend Flensing Rune. So you pick Skaven. Okay. So against like any Chaos faction, you can do this, like a style like this. You go Doom Wheel, you go Flensing Rune, so you have a really good anti-infantry character that can also snipe SEs using Storm Demon and Flensing Rune. You bring Brass Orb. Icket Claw is such a carry. So from here, you just present them with so much trash that they're going to have a bad time. So you just go 3 of these. You know, you get your Clan Rats. You get Clan Rat Spears. You know how long it's going to take to chew through all that? And all the meantime, Icket Claw is causing tons of havoc. Now, a really good place to get your DPS is actually Night Runner Slings. These things are 450. They're basically archers. And they're pretty good fighters. They can actually fight Furies reasonably well. And then you get 3 Skirmishers like this. This playstyle is really, really strong. Although against Chaos, you would want to... Sorry, I messed it up. Against Chaos, you would want to get maybe like 2 Globadiers. Because Globadiers have 100 armor, so they're really durable against most Furies, and you can use your Slingers and Icket Claw to shut down the Furies. This playstyle is so strong and really, really tough to shut down. And then from there, you know, what you would do is you would call in, depending on the matchup, you would bring in Wolf Rats. So Wolf Rats, like on jumping on top of Furies, which are fighting something else, is very good. You would have Rat Ogres to protect yourself. Like this style is very tough for Chaos to deal with. Yeah. All right. So hopefully that's helpful, bud. Hopefully you guys are getting some lessons here. All right, let's go to the tournament, see if we're done. Hate being punched in the wiener, don't we all? Don't we all? Okay. one game. Mr. Hill and the God are playing. Drove God, I think, is his name. All right. I think somebody posted another tournament tonight. No. Okay. I do not think so. Sure. Oh, his opponent's a no-show. Okay. So that's fine. So we're going to drop this gentleman. So drop you. So that's going to be who advances here. All right. So a little bit of adminning. Skaven are a great faction. They're very good. I've seen the light about the Skaven lately. Caleb. Okay, I don't know who you are on the website, buddy. Let me find out who you are. Was that you? What's your name on site? Okay, so need to see who this gentleman is. Looking to see who this player is. Oh, I think I see him. Okay, got it. So we're going to drop you also. And there we have it. The Horn Rat approves. He does. Yeah, he's the little Horn Rats. He's doing his thing, man. So then I just need to fix the score of this other gentleman. So let me find it. So Uber score need to be fixed. Alrighty. We're almost ready for the next round. Brood Horrors are actually okay as a mount option. I don't like them on their own, but I've been using Brood Horrors quite a bit. Like a Packmaster on a Brood Horror is a nice little assassin. Like 95 speed, pretty strong fighter. Slanesh is just banned because in SFT they're kind of unfair, I think. Yeah. So it is what it is. Thankful. Oh, Thankful would be sweet. I hope we get some Nagash action. Thankful. I really would love to have like a full undead Bretonnian faction, Musion. That'd be really fun. Yeah, that would be awesome. Or like maybe like a hybrid undead living faction. I don't know how they would approach it, but all right, advancing to the next round. And let's get it going. Thank you guys all for joining. Here we go. Swiss is advanced, and we are on the fourth and final round of regulation, ladies and gentlemen, as it is time to Royal Rumble. Okay. All right. And let's tell the goblins it is go time. Round 4 is live. Great. So who are we going to cast? Looking at our option of games. We can do Boss Toss versus Grombrindle. That'll be fun. Two great players. All right. Boss Toss. Lobby code, please. Okay. So asking for the lobby code from him and from Grombrindle. Code, please. All right. Are there situations where Warriors of Chaos want to pick Slaughter Brute? Probably not. Slaughter Brutes are just bad. They're not very good. They don't bring anything to the table that Warriors of Chaos like really want. It's like if you want a freaking Slaughter Brute, just bring Kolek. Kolek is just an exponentially bigger Giga Chad than a Slaughter Brute. And like he isn't that much more expensive. With just Lord of the Storm, he's only 300 more. He has anti-large, he's faster, he has magic damage. Although I think Slaughter Brute does not do magic damage. Yeah, Slaughter Brutes just kind of suck. Yeah. The Mutalith is good because it has a Mortis engine. Giants are also like 600 gold cheaper than a Slaughter Brute, and those things have 3,000 more HP, and they literally like hit just as they hit harder even. Like Slaughter Brutes are just a meme. Yeah. Yes. Yes. All right, so let's get in there and have some fun. All right, so the lobby is here. Let's get ready to cast the game. It's going to be Boss Toss versus Grombrindle. Aces, aces. Potentially more dwarves here. I don't know if Grombrindle's playing dwarves. We might get another dwarf game. Oh, dwarves versus Tzeentch. That's fun. That's a cool matchup. On the oil fields of Hashut. Which is true. There could actually be an unfair advantage on this map now that I'm looking at it. It could be that one side like routes off and the other doesn't. That's a little bit problematic. I don't know if that's actually the case until we load in. But yeah, Hammered Zebra, if you're watching, you might need to fix that. And put the decorative piece on the side. Because, yeah, they might have to route around the sides. I'm not sure how this is going to work. In some ways, units routing off can be an advantage if you're not paying attention because they go back into your spawn pool, but yeah, we will find out. There's a situation where Norska would want to bring Scylla. Not really, no. Monkey is not that good. Monkey needs a cost reduction probably. Not a huge one, but a little bit. Okay. So hopefully the map won't be a problem. We'll find out. I just wanted to give shine to one of the new maps. Okay. Everything looks good here. And I think we're good to cook. Dwarfs versus Tzeentch. What does Tzeentch use here? Flamers of Tzeentch can be quite good. Zangors are obviously a decent infantry choice. Silver Shield's pretty fast. Warriors aren't bad either. Just going Shielded Warrior. They can be feasible. You can also use pinks and whatnot, but the Dwarven archers typically will outrange you. So that's a little scary. Oh, God. I bet you we're going to get a Changeling pick. Please give us a Changeling pick. Come on. Who would you turn into with the Changeling? You know, it would be pretty forbidden. It would be like double Aecold or something. Like double Aecold Hellbrass. That'd be badass. Like two just like anti-infantry characters just grinding it up there. Yeah. Okay. Cathay needs Monkey. Yeah, it could be helpful. Cathay is definitely really good in land. That's the tricky thing, right? Because Cathay is quite good in land battle. So in Dom though, they're just a little bit of a potato. Their mobility is rough. I mean, they can move up. Crowmen were a big. Without Crowmen, Cathay would just be like an F tier faction. Crowmen like really hold that faction together. Burning Chariot would be sweet. Yeah, Burning Chariots are a little haggard, I think. Could be wrong though. So we got Grombrindle versus Bostos here. RTK versus Sons of the Mountain. Two very powerful Total War clans battling it out here on the Hashut oil fields. Okay. Could be. There we are. Cool beans. I say they add the double shotgun Troglodyte glitch back. Oh god, no. No more of that. There's so many haggard bugs in Total War. We don't need any more of those. Dark Elf should get a magma dragon. Like a fire-breathing dragon. If anything, that'd be like a Chorf thing, right? Or Chaos. If /1CA adds Dogs of War, how do you think they'll play? I don't know, actually. That's a really good question. I really have absolutely no idea. I really hope we get a Changeling game, though. I really, really hope it's Changeling. Sartorial. Okay, he wants to win. Fair play. Sartorial's quite good against Dwarves, actually. Lord Metal has always been good against Dwarves because Searing Doom is uber cost-effective against them. Their infantry formations. It's a chief spell that does a lot of damage. And Triple Chosen. Oh, shit. Okay. So he's trying to make up for the no Changeling by bringing Triple Chosen, which is very, very fun. So here we are. All right, so this is one of the new maps. This is the Hashut oil field. So you can see like the oil rigs here. God, Chaos Orbs are so scary. Like the industry of Chaos Orbs, very, very dystopian. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of like, it's a style, pretty open field, so artillery would be very good. But they're like, if you don't want to play open field, you can also deploy here, play Objective 1, and then creep out towards Objective 2 and play Vanguard on Objective 3, like Skirmish, which is fun. But taking a look at the Dowie Legion, he is going to go with Hero Hammer. So we have a Rune Lord, we have a Thane, and then we do also have a Dragon Slayer. So Dragon Slayers are pretty good fighters, anti-large, very good stat line. They know how to party. The rest of the army is going to be Dwarf Warriors backed up by blasting charges. We have Slayers and a single cannon sitting in reserve, and more blasting charges, and that is basically going to be it. Now, looking at the armies of Tzeentch and Bostos, Vanguarding Zangors to insta-grab the objectives is very powerful against Dwarves. And it's going to be blues and blues with the Chosen being deployed on the other side, which is pretty neat. Yeah, you can see the cool magma flow. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, it looks so rad. Yeah, cool map. Very, very neat looking map. I don't know if this is this is one element. If this building blocks routing units, whereas on this side they can route off easier, that would definitely be a little unfair. But Dwarves aren't going to route. It's not really going to matter in this matchup. But yeah. And we do also have the Iron Drake Arwar. Yes, it's lurking here somewhere. I saw it in his loading screen, but it's around. He's got it somewhere, and we will see it in due time. So Tzeentch is rocking Triple Chosen, which is heavy metal as hell. I love Chosen, one of my favorite units in the game. The Tzeentch Chosen are cool. I think that Cornate Nurgle Chosen are my favorite, followed by the Cornate Chosen would be my number 2, and Tzeentch would probably be my number 3. Slaanesh Chosen are cool, but the Tzeentch ones look really rad. They definitely have some cool aesthetic as well. You see a white line? I think I see a white line there. Yeah, it's hard to tell if you could route off here. It would need a little bit of testing, but there's a chance. There's a chance you could just route, like the route is like right before the terrain feature, which, you know, we'll have to see. So vanguarding up at the point of the Zangors, but the erect Dragon Slayer is going to be charging in. This guy's pissed, dude. He's not been skipping his cardio. He's going to be charging in there, and these Zangors are going to get bashed right in their stupid hooves. So here he comes, the giant karate chop of doom. Let's see what attack animation he chooses. Nope, just the classic side cleave. There he goes, and wow, he didn't just, that was a cannon too. Okay, I was going to say that one Dragon Slayer didn't just kill 20 Zangors with that one attack. Searing Doom going to be going down in the back. Sartorial, the Ever Chicken, and Boss Toss going to be harassing the cannon in the back. For Grombrindle, calling out like a Thunderer would be very good, or like a Grimdelver, like something that has a lot of stopping power against his chicken would be incredibly strong. So now comes the Tzeentchian shooting into the Dragon Slayer, and the Chosen are going to be advancing from the weak side of the map. Not weak side, but the shrouded side, the terrain-heavy side, I do dare say. So here comes the Chosen. They're going to be moving in to fight the Dwarves, and the Dwarves are going to have their cannons trained and ready to go if they want to. Over on Objective 3, we do see a little bit of skirmishing going down, but overall the Dwarf Warriors and the Grimdelvers are being called out. Okay, so we do get Grimdelvers out of a very strange vanguard position. They're going to be rolling out to try and screen out Sartorial, the Ever Chicken, but the Chicken might actually be able to just get a big Searing Doom on them. We'll have to see. Grombrindle, he does see it. Yep, you can see the target priority has been giving. The Grimdelvers are going to be chasing those bad boys down. Dwarves very comfortable here, and really it's going to come down to a fight against the Chosen. On the backside, we get some Chaos Chariots being called in by Boss Toss. So Boss Toss does have the Chariots, which, you know, they're just regular Chariots. They're not like Gore Beasts or anything, so they'll be okay, but there is a chance that they're going to get caught up and have some problems. So Zangor is going to be fleeing around the back. This is a really good play. Like, getting Zangors into the secondary, I think, is very, very strong. And we do get a Searing Doom on top of the cannon there. So the magic is slowly wearing those bad boys down. The Grimdelvers mowing down one Fury as they move in. One Fury just got like 100 to 0'd, sitting at 7 leadership. I'm surprised their leadership stabilized. But at the end of the day, sacrificing one Fury to kill the Grimdelvers is 100% worth it. This is an expensive gun unit, costs almost 1,000 gold. So giving up, 600 gold Fury is worth it, I would say, at the end of the day. Blasting Chart is going down, saturating into the Zangor. Zangor is going to be sent running and packing. I think it's a mistake for Boss Toss to play this objective at all. He should be coming over here and trying to Zerg the middle and get a full envelop, right? So moving in are the Zangors. And Goblin Hewers are called out. So we get Goblin Hewers for the Dwarves, but an unfortunate blunder of calling them out right on top of the Zangor unit. Thankfully, they are manned by Slayer's Oath, so they're pretty apt fighters and should be okay. And there is going to be a Dwarven Miner unit coming out to try and get a sandwich on the Zangors. But the Zangors can keep pursuing. They're very fast. With good micro, you could detach them here and move and start moving towards that cannon. So another Searing Doom activated. I don't know how much I love these Searing Dooms, because if he doesn't get this cannon, it's just such a massive waste of the Winds of Magic. Okay, so now the Chosen have arrived to the middle. So we have several units of Chosen, three of them, one of which is a little bit beat up. It's taken some cannon fire. Chariots rolling through the Dwarves, and now comes the heavy stopping power. But the Skulder Guard are nearby. A couple little blue horrors going to be trying to jump on those, but Grombrindle is ahead on value as the Dwarves are cackling a little bit right now. On the far side here, we do see Sartorial, the Ever Chicken, going after Slayers with Furies, which is a pretty good choice, and also using the blues to take them down. So it looks like Boss Toss is going to make a play for Objective 3. Although he's also pressing the middle objective and hoping that those Chosen are going to be able to get a good sustained grind. In the meantime, the Goblin Hewer's online, and let's follow this thing's career with great interest. So here comes the Goblin Hewer, going to be moving up, and these things do a freakish amount of damage if they're allowed to shoot. These Chosen are going to have a terrible time if the Goblin Hewer can shoot. So is it in range? Here it comes. You ready? Here comes the Goblin Hewers. They're going to get those wheels churning, and they're firing their throwing axes. So these Chosen, look at their HP just tanking. So that's like 400 or 500 damage right there, about 500-600 damage in total. Now the Goblin Hewer is going to be switching onto the Chariots, which will charge in. But they're going to get caught on the artillery pieces a little bit. The Slayer crew, remember, these guys have Slayer crews, and those Slayers can probably fight off these Chariots and or kill them, which is a really interesting part of the Goblin Hewer. You can see the Chariot here, 2,800 HP, tanking very, very quickly and getting a little bit crunk there. On the outside, a little Spec Ops operation. Looks like Boss Toss did not notice this. A unit that is missing that you really need in this matchup, in my opinion, is Tzeentch, are the Centaurs of Tzeentch and Eocold. Eocold is one of the best things you can bring in this matchup, as are the Centaurs of Tzeentch, which we're not seeing. Like, a single Centi of Tzeentch could run in and just steamroll the Sekron's Miner and just, solve this problem, like, immediately. But that's going to be going to the Dwarves, which is going to be very, very tough. Over on the middle objective, the Dwarves holding on to that one. The Chosen are grinding well, but they're taking some damage as well. The Skolder Guard over here getting some melting salvos of fire, so the Skolder Guard ROR are able to get some beautiful shots, cooking into the Chosen of Tzeentch. How cool is that shot? I love it. Just the heretics charging in and being roasted by the Chad Dowie Iron Drakes. You gotta love to see it. So they're able to get some nice value in there. And now we're seeing the Centaurs of Tzeentch. Okay, I was wondering when they would come. They get a beautiful charge. They sandwich the Skolder Guard, who probably would have almost died there if they didn't have the ward save item. On the far side objective, though, Tzeentch able to win this one, so using their big scary chicken to get the dub on this objective, and the Zangors should be able to fight off the remnants of the Dwarves. So Tzeentch is going to be able to hold on to objective 3. Meanwhile, the Dwarves, though, they do ninja the other side, so that is going to be kind of countermanding the capture on the other side. Fury's diving into the secondary, so Furies are able to get on top of the Trollhammer torpedoes here, which do not have much support, though I guess there are some Longbeards nearby. So definitely want to pull these Iron Drakes back into the Longbeard so that the Longbeards can fend off those Chaos Furies. Centaur is getting a beautiful charge, and right as we talk about these bad boys, they arrive and they start doing some great work for sure. The Dwarven heroes, though, are pretty Giga Chad, man. The Thane, the Rune Lord, and the Demon Slayer, or Dragon Slayer, excuse me, are just making work of these Chosen. If these were Nurgle Chosen, it would be a completely different story. The Nurgle Chosen would pierce through the character's armor, and be able to potentially kill those characters. If there was two Nurgle Chosen, for sure. But these Chosen are more durable, not even more durable, but they just don't have the armor piercing. Centaur is going to be charging in, trying to provide a little bit of support, and the backfield Furies are shut down, so Slayers as well as Longbeards do protect those Trollhammers. The cannon is still shooting, so that's really big. And what is the cannon going to be trained on? It looks like it's just shooting at the Chosen the entire time, and it's been a good investment. It has 1,600 here. On the other side, what do we have? We have Furies coming in, and it looks like there's going to be some pink cores of Tzeentch on the way. And Furies are pretty good against Miners. Miners have terrible combat stats, so the Furies can mitigate the blasting charges by flying in. If these weren't Ekron's Miners, it would be a win for Furies, but the Ekron's Miners do have better stats, so they might be able to fight off a Fury unit. We will have to see how it looks. But close game for sure. Objective 3 does belong to Tzeentch, and Tzeentch is now trying to get the middle objective, and it looks like they might. They do have a lot of Chosen and a lot of Blues in here. Slayers are going to be on their way in, and another really nice Searing Doom by Bostas is going to be cooking a lot of the Longbeards here, and does also tickle the Iron Drakes, but not so much. Iron Drakes definitely give you good pressure against the Centaurs of Tzeentch and or the flying elements of the army. And will the Dwarves be able to stabilize this? Definitely need some Doomseekers, and it looks like the Goblin Hewers are still alive somehow. So how much value did we get on the Goblin Hewers before they went? Oh, 1,200 value on those Goblin Hewers before they went offline. I think the crew has abandoned the Goblin Hewers and is now fighting in melee, so very, very flavorful stuff. But the Dwarves do arrive with reinforcements. Chosen are very strong, but Slayers, they hit hard enough. They don't have the best AP, but just sheer numbers. And now that we got old Grumblers here, the Longbeards, they got their beards out for apparently Hashit here today. They're going to be piling in with the Dwarven Thane and the Rune Lord, and that's going to start just obliterating the Tzeentch infantry. It's a very, very strong pocket. So at this point in the game, I think that Tzeentch is down on value. They need to start playing the sides and forcing the Dwarves to move. Because Dwarves, fighting the Dwarves in their natural habitat, like a blob, where they can fight shoulder to shoulder, is always really, really tough, right? But playing the side objectives and forcing the Dwarves to waddle is going to be the power play. Currently, Bostas is behind on points, though, so that's really problematic, which means that the Dwarves have a lot of time to grind value and just kind of secure 2 points. But here, the Dwarves do lose their side point. The 2 pinks are able to arrive. Centaurs of Tzeentch are able to come in and steamroll those Ekron's Miners. And now the Dowie need to find a way to move to the outside. This map is quite big, so that could be one of the ways that Tzeentch maybe finds a way to win this game. The map is quite a big old sausage, and we get more Slayers moving in. Slayers going to be hustling up. Granted, they will suck against pinks. Pinks are pretty good against them, I do dare say. What would you call in here? Maybe some Miners with blasting charges would be pretty good against these guys. We'll have to see how that all unfolds. So Sartorial, the Ever Chicken here, is going to be trying to intercept the advancing long-drawn Slayer Pirates, which I like this choice. They do get some pretty cost-effective shots into the Goose. But Bostas, very good micros, going to be juking back and forth using the Elder Millennial Micro. I believe he's around my age, and he is dodging here with Sartorial, the Ever Chicken. Advancing up are the Zangors. Zangors should trade okay here. Of course, the long Dong Slayer Pirates with their massive Dwarven Dongs are going to be lowering the melee attack of the Zangors. Advancing in are Thunders. Thunder's a nice support piece as well. They're very good for keeping Flying Chickens honest because the shooting is direct fire. It's very tricky to dodge. You can dodge it, but you're going to be eating proportionally a lot more of those shots than you would with arrows and things like that. All right, so looking here at the Dwarves on the middle, I think they still got it. Yeah, the point was in flux a little bit, but the Longbeards grumbling all the way to the bank. And the Chosen, what kind of value did we get on these Chosen? About 500. That's very rough. Chosen did not have a good time. I love Chosen against Dwarves with, Khorne or Nurgle, because of the fact that Khorne has anti-infantry to compensate for their lack of armor piercing, and Nurgle, of course. Well, with Khorne, you don't use Chosen anymore. You just use Wrathmongers. But it used to be occasionally Chosen, but Wrathmongers have just taken over that role completely, in that matchup at least. But yes, Objective 3 belonging to the Dowie, and Objective 1 is potentially going to go to the Dowie as well. We do see the Grim Delvers coming back out, getting a beautiful salvo into the Horrors here, but now the Slayers are on their tail, and the Slayers will be able to rip them apart pretty quickly. Pinks have not the best combat stats, and the Grim Delvers are just mowing these things down. I love just the shotgun blast coming in, just doing fat damage. This is not the finals. No, this is the round of 4, and then we have the semifinals and the grand finals after this. So we're going to see how this all unfolds here. Yeah, the Dwarves using their value advantage to swarm the battlefield, right? Like when you have a value advantage of, 1,200, that's 4 units extra that if the value meter is accurate, you're potentially going to have like 3 or 4 units extra on the battlefield in terms of value. Grim Delvers move it up. These Slayers should be able to finish off these Pinks. We will have to see. On the far side, the Ever Chicken, is he going to be able to get it? The Dwarves do get the double cap back, so they have this objective, and it looks like these Slayer Pirates were able to arrive. The Long Dong Slayer Pirates got the job done, and some of the Zangors did intercept the Thunderers here. They definitely need some Doomseekers in this matchup. Doomseekers are just so good against Tzeentch, in my opinion, in the mid-game. At least one. I wouldn't go more than 1 or 2, but just having one to just like cleave through their infantry and get to the objectives quickly is so nice. So Chariot's trying to get in there. A lot of beat up Dwarfs. I mean, the whole Dwarf army is just in tatters, but I mean, they're holding it. They're hanging in there. Dragon Slayer's all right. Rune Lord's all right. And the Thane is still very much alive. He's more or less full health. Tzeentch army ability going down. And what are the Grim Delvers going to do? It looks like they're trying to draw line of sight, but this kind of a pillar of fire is blocking them there. And Tzeentch is going to be sending out more demons to try and run interference. And now the Dwarven Warriors are going to be getting up on the point here. The capture weight should start flipping here relatively soon as the Slayers make a pink cotton candy sandwich and do get a nice little surround here on the little popcorn bandits, and probably we'll see the pinks start to crumble soon. Leadership's looking a little bit fickle, and the Grim Delvers do turn about face. Beautiful shots there, mowing down demons. Extremely righteous. Oh, and they even have the cool I love the reload animations. I never looked at that, but the reload animations are really, really flavorful. And are they going to be charging into melee now? Hard to say. But yep, that is the end of the pinks, and the objective is going to be flipping. So that is going to be Objective 1 going to the Dowie, Objective 2 belonging to the Dowie, and I think the Dwarves have got this game. Very, very good scrappiness from Tzeentch. I think that Tzeentch can totally beat the Dwarves. I just think that the Chosen didn't work out. The Chosen were the big breadwinners, and Bastos is a good enough player to almost get his value back for the failed Chosen using Sartorial. Sartorial's been pimping this game and really, really wrestling the side objectives well, but yeah, those Chosen, I doubt any of them got over 800 value. I feel like they probably just got Shrek'd. And these Tzeentch demons here are not going to have a good time versus these Dwarves. These Dwarves are just stalwart. They have blasting charges. We are going to be seeing some Furies potentially landing here, but there's just too many Dwarves to get through. And it's soon going to become a single cap situation, where the Dwarves just need to hold one objective to win. And Tzeentch doesn't have much time before that, right? So the Chaos Furies here getting ready to crumble on down. Chaos Chariot's going to be surging into the secondary, going after the Binders with blasting charges, which is a good idea to run interference, keep the reinforcements from getting there. But the Dwarves are just looking pretty good here today, ladies and gentlemen. And I do not think that there's going to be any chance. Bastos probably is still in the heat of the moment, doesn't realize how over this game is. He's still fighting with his big chicken here, but those dwarf characters are just not going anywhere. It's just like tabletop. Trying to kill like a Dwarven King who has like the toughness 10 rune and just like you can only wound him on like 6s basically. It's basically the equivalent of that. This guy is hanging in there and causing problems. So probably more Marauder-centric armies and using more Centaurs of Tzeentch would have been much stronger. Using Flamers would have been also very strong once the cannon was shut offline. Because having a Flamer of Tzeentch on this side, like if you abuse the terrain a little bit, like here and here, like the cannons might not be able to draw line of sight, and you could just get, really, really good equity over there. So the Chosen Gambit, 600, 800, and 700. So the Chosen really dropped the ball there for Bastos. But the Centaurs, came in, did pretty good. At least one of them did, and the Chariot also was fine. But yeah, well played. Good dwarf play too. Using the Dwarven Hero Hammer, the cannon was nice. I love seeing cannons do well. They often get shut down. 100 and 1700 value here, looking good. And yeah. GG, well played. Paul says, I'm playing Warriors of Chaos right now on this map. Who are you playing against, though, Paul? Who are you playing against? Let me know. I can give you some advice. I play on tons of open field maps with Warriors of Chaos and am able to beat gunlines pretty consistently. So just let me know your matchup and I can help you out, brother. Yeah, it is I would say a dwarf favored matchup, though. That one is probably dwarf favored, maybe at the highest level. Hard to say. All right, so who's going to be undefeated? We have, oh, that was basically a spot to see who had a chance at top 4. Yes. Shielded Chosen. Shielded Chosen are okay in some matchups, but Dwarves just have too much armor. It's like, probably something like if you're playing Tzeentch. I don't know. What are your options here with the Changeling, by the way? Is there anything that's like really oppressive against Dwarves that you could switch into? Looking at good anti-dwarf tech. Skulltaker is probably a little too low armor, in my opinion. He is pretty cool, though, man. You know what would be kind of badass? Would be Scar Bloodwrath. Because Scar Bloodwrath is really good against dwarves. That could be actually a really interesting one. How much would that cost? So Scar is around here somewhere, right? Yeah, you could do Felix Jaeger. Do your own little hero hammer squad. It's kind of fun. Yeah, Valky is also very, very nice. Valky is just super disruptive. You don't get her Demon Shield or her Sleipnir, though, which are like 2 of the better elements. All right, let's see what matchup you're talking about for Warriors of Chaos. I'm waiting for the answer here. Enchantress. Queek Headtaker. Oh, that's a real Chad play right there. Malice Darkblade. Unfortunately, you don't get his second transformation when you do that. Is Scar Bloodwrath not on the selection? Well, anyways. Okay, so competitive Tzeentch against Dwarves. Village the Curseling is extremely good. You just bring Infernal Gateway and just nuke units like the entire game. And he's a pretty good grind unit. You get Village and Aecold. This is going to guarantee you one objective, basically. It's very, very strong, right? So you get those 2. And then you're going to want some sort of I don't know, you could get another character. That's the thing, right? Yeah, so you get that with Infernal Gateway. You cut all that, and then you can bring the Twisted Twin if you want to. That one's all right. It's not bad. Scar was next to Scarbrand. Okay, got it. Yeah, of course I should know that. So probably Marauder Core. And then in reserve, yeah, Sentinels of Tzeentch. Probably just like cap out on those bad boys, right? You're going to want some of these. Definitely just to contest the mobile game. The Exalted Flamer is a little bit too risky. Probably in reserve, you can bring 2 of these. They're extremely good against the Dwarves. Forsaken are an alright unit, but Zangors are probably just your best friend. You probably just go Zangor City. Alright, so that's going to be Zangor Party. And is there anything else we can bring? Definitely don't want the Blue Scribes. If you want to like hero fight, you can bring an Exalted Hero and a Chariot, but if they go cannon, you're going to have a terrible time. You're going to want some Furies actually in this build, so probably cut you. You need at least like 2 Furies. Furies are very good against Dwarves. Yeah, 3 Sentinels of Tzeentch is probably adequate. From here, we can get the... you just get Chromatic Abominations, they'll be fine. Okay, so 2,500 of the main build. Changebringers are interesting, but Dwarves can definitely troll them a little bit. Knights of Immolation are a very interesting tech against Dwarves, because they can juke cannons pretty well, and you can use their bombardment to kill cannons and then dive it and escape pretty smooth criminal. So there is a playstyle that likes to use Knights of Immolation. However, just going more infantry heavy is probably fine also. So you can maybe do double Zangor in the opening build just for the Vanguard cap. And then that gives you, what, 700 here? So, yeah, you don't really need Screamers. The Chariot is kind of cool. It leaves you with an odd amount of money. I don't hate the pinks. I think having like the pinks against the dwarves is good. So maybe like mixing a Sour Guts in the opening build could be viable for sure. And maybe even something like this. I don't know about the Exalted. They're probably a little bit too much there. Yeah, I wish I could get like one more really good combat character. But like this is kind of the general direction of the build, I would say, against these guys. Yeah, Centaurs of Tzeentch in reserve. They're a better unit in reserve than they are on the field. Yeah, so you definitely have those. Chaos Warriors, Shielded Chaos Warriors are all right. Forsaken might be a little bit better because they wreck Slayers really bad and they're super fast. So you could mix them in and probably have some good success. And yeah, just something along these lines. All right. So let's see what the Rock is cooking. It's just time. Let the Nurglings feast. So checking on the score reporting, and we got 1 game still to go. All right, all right. Oh, got it. Cool. So we're about ready for the grand finals. Just waiting for this last match to finish. How do you deal with Empires, Warriors of Chaos? Oh, it's not too bad. So Warriors of Chaos. This build is outdated, though. I probably need to change it. Like this. Yeah, like this. Valkia chases shit and is super goddamn annoying to deal with. Chaos Sorcerer of Shadows. You use Melkoths on the heavy cav. You just infantry press, backed up by armored trolls. I would probably change this now with the new Warriors of Chaos. This build is old, so I would probably mix in 2 Blood Beasts like this. Yeah, like exactly like this. This is just very, very hard for Empire to stop. It's doable, but you have tools for dealing with most threats. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a little bit of variance. You can switch this Hell Scourge probably to a anti-large version. It's probably a little bit stronger. The Warriors are pretty good in the mid game. You call those bad boys in, but you have so much chase. You could probably cut this and then, you know, get like 1 more infantry unit or something, just like a freaking Hell Scourge or like a Spear Marauder. Anything like in this vein is going to be very good. Crosstone, the castle really messes with the defender's camera. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Craw, for testing that. I wanted to test the map today so we can give feedback to the map maker. So thank you. We will. Yeah, it'll get fixed, I'm sure. No, Valkia is god tier. She's one of the best lords in the entire game, in my opinion, in competitive. Super hard to stop. Very, very elusive. Yeah. All right, well, hopefully all of you guys who played today had fun. Thank you for helping test the new map. The map maker, I'm sure, will see the feedback. And we have our top 4 now. It is clear. Leech Lord, Stingers, Navigator, and Outer Region. So we have Vampire Coast in the top 4. Pretty hyped for that. I don't know what Navigator's playing. We're going to find out. Oh, are you sure Blood Beasts are supposed to be marked, though? I don't know if they are. It does have a mark with it, but I'll ask TA when they get back from vacation. Yeah, Blood Beasts, it's nobody really knows if they're supposed to be, like, mark required or... Yeah. Oh, so your camera was bouncing from the building. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'll let the homie know. Thank you, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and advance the top 4. You're in for more Archeon. Archeon is good in a couple matchups. For a big, expensive lord, he's actually meta, I would say, in a couple matchups, which is super cool to see. Valkia usually doesn't get bullied. She's usually the one doing the bullying, in my experience. Okay. And here we are. So, top 4. It's going to be Leech Lord versus Stingers. And then we have Outer Region versus Navigator. Who's Navigator? Navigator. Here we go. All right, all right. GLHF. Oh, no worries, Leech Lord. So, looks like Leech Lord needs to drop, so we will pull the next person up in the bracket. Let me see if they're there. So the next person would be Bull. Okay, so let me message you. Yo. Player had to drop. Okay, so just talking to our next player here, and I will place them on the website. Hopefully they're still here. Bull, are you still here? You didn't leave yet, did you? All right. So Bull is here, and he's going to be playing Stingers. All right, awesome. All right. Well, my fellow Warriors of Chaos homie. Coast, the Coast player unfortunately had to drop. I believe he lives pretty late and he has work in the morning, so he had to drop. So it's all good. All good. We have the next person up. And they both had 3 wins anyways. It was just a leaderboard tiebreaker, so it's totally fine. All right, so that's going to be Stingers versus Leech Lord. Yes, so I need to fix this one. Okay. Okay, so who's the replacement going to be here? It's going to be this player. All right. Okay. So there we go. And the score should be updated. Website is all set. And we will do Outer Region versus Navigator, I think. Lobby code, please. Because we already saw a High Elf game earlier. I guess we've seen a couple Dwarf games, though. But today is going to be the... the thumbnail didn't lie. The Dwarves are certainly getting their Christmas presents today. They're doing very good. But it also so happens that there's several very, very good Dwarf players playing. So, yeah. Valky the Slippery. That should be... That is true indeed. Okay. And it is going to be versus Navigator. Okay. First round. Where's this? Okay. Oh, Empire versus Dwarves. Now, this used to be accursed, but there's actually some really good tech the Empire has here now. I don't know how good the Empire player is, but Hochland long rifles are pimping in this matchup. If you can go quad Hochland long rifle, and like Dwarves are going to potentially have a bad time, but Dwarves can counter that. If they bring like 2 or 3 cannons and just nuke your long rifles, you're going to have a bad time. So there is some rock, paper, scissors to this. I would say this is still Dwarf favored. Maybe like 60-40, 55-45 now, but it's yeah, it's fun. Yeah, no, I talked to him, Jensitz. Yeah, I talked to him. The Warriors of Chaos player who was asking for help against Gunline is playing in the semis right now. He's playing against High Elves, which I have been crushing High Elf players as Warriors of Chaos. Like the best High Elf players, we've just been crushing them. The Hell Cannon is, if you can feasibly protect the Hell Cannon from High Elves, man, it just wrecks their world. And yeah, it's very, very good. Barrels up for Sigmar. This is going to be fun. Yeah, this is going to be a great fun. Yeah, I'm hyped for this one. Always, dude. Always. GG. There we go. And yes, the New Year's is coming. It's creeping on up, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting there. Another year under the old belt. Still playing games from 2004. I've been playing a little WoW Classic, which has been fun. Having my first brushes with the dreaded gold farmers, the bots, which is probably my least favorite part of the game. Oh, God, it's awful. You do run into them. As you get higher level, you run into the gold farmers in certain regions. It's like these bots that just farm gold and they steal your quest mobs, and you're just like, thankfully I play a hunter, so I can always get the tag before them, typically. But yeah, it's full Flagellant army with Volkmart. Oh god, that would be awful against dwarves. You would just bounce off their armor. Yeah. Looks like Outer Region is ready. He is ready. The time is now. You know, you go to play like Blizzard games, and you're always like, why isn't Blizzard addressing these problems? And it's just like, you're like, then you remember it's Blizzard. It's like modern Blizzard, right? Yeah. How dare you guys? I love my hunter. Because I get to name my pets after my real life pets. It's very fun. I love hunters in PvP though. It's so fun. Like just getting like MLG no scopes on people on Battlegrounds is super fun. Yeah. Top tier faction. What exactly makes them so scary? Seekers. Yeah, Seekers are incredibly strong. Flagellants versus Chorf Chaff. Oh god, no. It's not gonna go well. High Elves are not pits here. I think High Elves are decent. Maybe in Land Battle, William, but here in they're actually pretty good. In the hands of specialists, High Elves can be pretty damn good, but they're not easy to play. Yeah, Activision Blizzard is not Blizzard, yeah. Yeah, you see a lot of that, like these like neckbeards in WoW Classic who just buy gold, you know? They'll just like, you know, they'll just like they'll buy gold from these like gold farmers. And then they'll power level, get boosted in dungeons, and then they just like buy gear and basically cheat, you know, and diminish the experience for other players and like ruin the economy. It's like, that's my only gripe with WoW Classic. Otherwise, I'm having an absolute blast. Absolute blast. It's really fun. Yeah. All right, one sec, guys. I'm going to go refill my water, and I will be right back. All right, guys, we're back in business. Oh my God, are you seeing this glory? Oh yeah. Look at that. Is that a freaking Sunmaker with like mass outriders and a steam tank? Oh dear God. This is not going to go well for the Empire, I don't think. Oh. Blizzard's response to gold farming was selling gold themselves. Yeah. I mean, I think if Blizzard hired me and gave me like a crack team of like three people, I think we could squash gold farming with enough determination. The answer to gold farming isn't going after the bots. It's severe punishment for the buyers. So they're way easier to catch because Blizzard can see transactional history in game, right? They can see trade history. They can see like, if you just set up a simple algorithm to track like copious, either large amounts of gold being traded or smaller amounts of gold being traded in rapid succession, you would just be able to catch gold buyers like super easy. And you just give them a permaban, just karate chop them, you know, like permaban, no mercy. Yeah. And that's how you would do it. And then the people would just stop buying. If you were just crushing gold buyers nonstop, people would not buy gold because they don't want to lose their time. Yeah. That's the mistake, is trying to outsmart these people who literally develop proprietary software to bot. Like, good luck with that, you know? What is the answer to Fishman when playing as Chaos Dwarves? You just got to go full Scorched Earth, dude. Full Scorched Earth. All right, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the semifinals of today's tournament. We have the dreaded Sunmaker Hellstorm rocket battery. So this thing historically was used against dwarves in the meta. It's very good against wide formations of dwarf infantry, so we're going to see how it goes. We got Sigmar Suns heading to the side objective and 2 Dwarven Miners on the Vanguard. Mass Outriders from the Empire, which I love. So check this out. The Outrider Corps is here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, look at that. So they're going to be mowing down these Dwarven infantry on the advance. Now, they don't do a ton of damage, but they could definitely keep the dwarves off this point and or knock off these 2 chaff-centric units. Granted, a bolt thrower might be able to turn about face and start picking off some of the models here, but I do like the Outrider Vanguard. I think that's very cheeky, and he's not meeting out of region head-on in a fight. He's like playing the sides, which I think is very, very smart. Yeah, no, this Empire build is very Giga Chad, but I don't know if it's going to work. It's certainly very ambitious. We do see the Dwarven Miners here getting mowed down. Bolt throwers are now shooting into the Outrider, so that's going to hurt a little bit. You could scoot back. Navi should scoot back a little bit, you know, get back like just out of range of the Bolt thrower to force them forward, and we do see Grimdelvers coming in. Empire is holding on to that objective, though, so they do have that, and a bit of a miss micro in the beginning. He gets his Outriders killed, so his micro is being taxed right now. He needs to make more of a priority of getting his back objective back. Like, letting the Dwarves take her home objective is a shame. It is not something that you want to let them hold for very long. So we do see the first salvo of the Sunmaker. Now, if you're going to be going Sunmaker, you have to bring Restock. Restock is a god tier ability, so this is something that hasn't been explored this much because a big issue with the Sunmaker is ammunition, right? So using the Restock ability to replenish the ammunition of your Sunmaker is really actually very, very strong, and I love that tech. That Sunmaker feasibly could get a ton of value. But the Empire needs the micro here a little bit. If these Grimdelvers are able to kill an Outrider, that is a catastrophic trade, and we get more Miners with blasting charges coming in. In the meantime, the Empire does start to resecure its back objective, so the Sigmar Suns and the Steam Tank do arrive there. Sunmaker is still making it rain. I mean, it's doing some very, very nice work, and I really like the execution of this Empire build in some ways. My concern is going to be the micro. This is an extremely micro-intensive build that, like, you can't afford this shit to be happening. Like, letting Grimdelvers get in a kill box range of your fast cav shooting unit, this shouldn't be happening. So what we're seeing, I think, is an Empire build that could feasibly win with very good micro, but we're not quite seeing the micro there from Navigator. So some decent micro in some areas, but that should never happen. When this mass legion of dwarves gets here, you need to like pull back, sit over here, call in some other tech that can be a troll and shut those down, right? Just a little bit more. Now, greatswords are going to be sent to the middle. This is going to be an unholy disaster for the Empire. The greatswords are going to get mowed down by all the shooting, right? All these rangers and different shooting pieces are going to be brutal. Now, how is the artillery going? It's still shooting away. It's shooting into the rangers here, which is nice, although it's going to be hitting the pillar a little bit, and that is a big volley blast right there. Very, very nice on those guys. Advancing up are the greatswords, and the steam tank's going to be driving in on the side here. So here they come, and the Master Engineer is great. I mean, his cannonball, his steam cannon, he's a great choice. He's got a ton of HP, but Outer Region, I think, is just... It seems to be a much more experienced player. A quad Hawkland long rifle build probably could have actually beaten Outer Regions build or threatened it very heavily. This dwarf build is extremely vulnerable against artillery and long range shooting. Extremely vulnerable. But, you know, I don't know. I love the Outrider pressure on the side. I thought that was very cheeky and kind of forced out some weird call-ins from the dwarves. But, yeah, it's going to be a tough cookie. Now, on the back objective here, we do get the Sigmar Sons getting ready to do battle with the Dwarven Miners here. We're going to see how that goes. Steam Tank Commander doing great work. I mean, some of the Rangers are being routed off here. So here they come. The Stank has been nerfed a couple times, but it's still very, very strong. So Stank is a chariot, and you can see the impact is doing great damage, right? It just rolls over those units as the Hellstorm rocket battery is just doing great work. Now, Hawkland long rifles have been called out, and they are mowing these gyrocopters down. This is very good for Na'vi. Having the 2 units just mowing these down, but they're still potentially going to be shutting down the Hellstorm rocket battery. We're going to have to see Outriders coming in, a lot of firepower. Outer Region looks like he's going to be prepping for a bombardment run as Greatswords do advance up in the middle. And if he can save the Sunmaker, that's going to be a pretty big one. One gyrocopter is wavering, probably is going to be taken down. We do see the fleeing Sunmaker here, as halberds are called in to reinforce the back objective. The dwarves are threatening the back objective heavily. They have dwarf warriors advancing up. Outriders are here. This is where you need Knights of the Black Rose against dwarves. They're actually quite good against the mass amounts of Crap House infantry. They can really, really grind them down well. Greatswords do arrive to the middle. But at this point, you know, they're going to be getting a lot of focus fire on them. Greatswords are good against dwarves as a secondary advancing piece, kind of like how they're used here. But typically, you want to compromise the missiles first before you send the greatswords in. Otherwise, they're going to get peppered. They do have full plate armor, you know, pretty tanky lads, but usually not going to be enough there. But, you know, 2 gyrocopters do get taken down, so Na'vi does get a lot of value in the backfield. You could see the power of the Hawkland long rifle in this matchup. Very, very good stuff. Beautiful value, and the dwarves have very little counterplay for the Hawkland long rifle. They just have to eat it, which is always good. And here we have the greatswords getting roasted by flamethrowers up in the sky, so the Hawkland long rifles are going to have the work cut out for them. And we do see the steam tank eating a lot of damage. Granted, Empire does have healing. The steam tank's going to need to be given an attack order and go elsewhere for sure. Probably getting the steam tank to maybe try and sneak around the side and shut down Grimdelvers, but probably not. Grimdelvers would probably mow them down on the approach and be a little bit too risky. The Outriders are trying to stabilize the back objective. You know, very dynamic, interesting play from our Empire player. I love the build in many respects. I think it's very innovative and has cool elements. But the execution just wasn't quite there. I think that Outer Region just probably played a tighter game overall and didn't make too many mistakes. And, you know, there was a lot of mistakes from the Empire early, just having mobility getting caught, taking damage when it should never take damage against dwarves unless, you know, you really, really are committing to something. And now the Hawkland long rifles are doing good damage. I mean, they're going to mow down these Grimdelvers here, give them the business pretty hard. You can see these guys are going to be fleeing the scene as the Steam Tank Commander continues to get hunted by the Dwarven Sausage here. And in charges the tank to try and support the fleeing greatswords. Probably not going to be enough. Hawkland long rifles need to zero in on the gyrocopters if they can. Value's 4.1 against 5.2. Halberdiers have arrived here, but it's going to take Halberdiers like 45 minutes to clear through the dwarves. And the back point, dwarves are holding on to it pretty well. Now, this is like another big play, right? Like, Empire has so many advantages in mobility. You should have a grenade launcher right here in the woods, just popping out and nuking these guys off the objective and forcing him to send gun units over there. And when he does that, you just run somewhere else, right? Like, little things like that are very, very good in this matchup. And I can tell you because I played Empire vs. Dwarves at a competitive level a million times. In Warhammer 2 competitive, Warhammer 3, little things like that are how you do it. In land battle, it's definitely harder. Empire, though, in Dom has a lot more play because of the objectives. So in the backfield, Outer Region does manage to finally cook offline the Sunmaker, but he's going to probably be sacrificing another gyrocopter to the gods. So more or less an even trade. 2 gyrocopters is similar in price to Sunmaker, although maybe a slight advantage for the dwarves, you know, considering what it does for the overall state of the battlefield. I disagree that dwarves are OP. I don't think they are. I think dwarves have a lot of counterplay, and there's a lot of matchups that can crush dwarves pretty effectively. And you know, even Empire can do okay against them. It's just can't. This was really just an experience difference. You know, Outer Region has a way of making things look OP because he's extremely good. So that can happen with him. So Master Engineer going to be rolling through the Rangers, getting terror routes, and the Tank Commander's doing great. He's probably up to like almost 2K, yeah, about 1,600 value right here. And Outriders are going to be shooting about face, turning and trying to run down what they can. Empire didn't hear no bell, though, 5.1 against 6.7. A lot of greatswords are on the way up, and the problem is, like, even if the Empire can start to get some value back here, you're going to have a bad time just on the points. A Demogryph Knight Lance is also not a terrible choice in this matchup, or just bring the RORs for the heroic charge. You can use them to just hammer through Dwarven infantry on the backfield if they try and press you like this. So, Slaanesh and Doc are top tier at the moment. They are, yes. So, Doc isn't getting played as much, so we don't have data on them, but Slaanesh is extremely top tier at the moment in Dom. I know in land battle, Demons of Chaos are a huge menace. Huge menace. They just have so many strong units. Fiends and Seekers and all the Tzeentchian shooting and Nurgle healing. Like, they just have so much good stuff. All right, so advancing up are the Great Swords. You know, finally getting to the point where they can bump and grind. And we do see, like, the value is probably kind of close on the battlefield, but the Dwarves are just owning the Empire on the objectives. The Great Swords, or excuse me, the Halberdiers will beat Dwarf Warriors, but it just takes, like, an hour. A couple Outriders down combat. Probably should have just unsummoned them to get a partial refund. More Great Swords going to be surging forward as the Empire does start to make ground, but it's just too late. Outer Region's at 1,100 points. Outer Region can just mouth breathe and Unga Bunga and just send units to his back point and just Helm's Deep if he wants to. Would you say the Outriders have better matchup against aerial targets? Yeah, the Outriders are good against the air units, and grenade launchers are extremely good against dwarves. They're actually really good. Yeah, the steam tank's a beast, dude. It's up to 1,800 value. So, you know, if this were the old steam tank, it would be like 2,800, 3,000 value right now. But it doesn't. It's much more fair now. It's less maneuverable, less DPS, but still is very effective. And it's been just sponging so much of the dwarf damage, right? And that's why the dwarves are actually a little bit weak on the battlefield, is because the tank has absorbed so much damage. So a lot of the value you're seeing, and the value metrics here is including the old steam tank, right? Which is still very much functional. Bolt throwers are also good against steam tanks. So the dwarves do have their bolt throwers sitting back there shooting. The Hawk and long rifles, man, if they had been out here earlier, 1,500 on this long rifle. You know, this one's got 800. Those things are money. Outriders are going to be pushing, but this is where you want grenade launchers, not Outriders. We do get Demograph Knight Lances. I like that. I think that's a good choice. They do pretty nasty damage on the charge and have really good armor piercing. So the 32 Demi Knights, you can see how quickly they fold up these dwarves. But 1,300 points. Empire does start to steal this, and that's going to be a tap out from the Empire. A very valiant attempt by our Empire player. A couple of things. The dwarves should never be able to get into your backfield and get your Sunmaker that easily. You need to be more careful with the Outriders, but aside from that, it was a very cool playstyle. I really liked his build. I thought it was very cool. Just the execution needs to be a little bit cleaner. And for the dwarves, very simplistic, very standard Dowie. A little bit of artillery, 3,500 from farming that steam tank, and the archers are fine, but they got shreked by that hellstorm. And yeah, it's a good build. Outer Region's really good with the gyrocopters. Very, very good. All right. So let's get the finals all set up and have some fun. All right. So there we are. And that's going to be Outer Region in the finals. And let's see who won on the other side. Yeah, Warriors of Chaos are pretty good against dwarves. Not good, but it's like with Blood Beast, it's really a nice inclusion. So it's either going to be Walk or High Elves. A rematch from earlier, actually. Okay. All fixed. So we could have a rematch, like a grudge match, Elves versus Dwarves in the finals, or Warriors of Chaos. Yeah. I like that build. I thought it was good. Yeah, it was very, very fun. Empire is really fun like that. They can do a lot of weird shit. That's why they're so fun as a faction. Yeah, alrighty. So what do we got? We got the Bordello Landing is going to be the map. The classic. One of the staples by Bob That Builder. So Jay Phoenix, I'm not looking forward to the Nuln army as much, Jay, because the Demograph Knights are like some of my favorite units and you can't use them. And Nuln also cannot bring a high-level wizard in tabletop. But they have really cool guns. I'm looking forward to just playing Grand Army Empire and using War Wagons and using the Knightly Orders. So I'm really excited to use Demograph Knights of Moor or Demograph Knights of Ulrich for the hammers that they can bring. There's some really, really cool stuff. Oh, Tomoko, you sent something? Let me double check this. I don't see, did I miss it up above? Luke Skywalker versus Lord Grimgor Ironside. It like the meme side wants to say Grimgor, but like lightsabers are pretty freaking OP. You know, like Grimgor's like armor and flesh would not be able to endure a lightsaber, right? He would just, Luke Skywalker has the Force too. Okay, we can give Grimgor the plot armor that he could like, he's strong enough to outwill the Force or whatever, but like I think a lightsaber just probably owns Grimgor, as it does most fantasy characters. Now, Luke Skywalker, however, would probably get owned by a lot of wizards from Warhammer Fantasy. Like Luke Skywalker would probably be eviscerated by like a Slan or like any sort of a powerful mage from Warhammer Fantasy. Like Elspeth von Draken would probably just like Spirit Leech him. You know, like, but like when it comes to like dueling, Luke would probably own Grimgor, I think, because Grimgor is like big and you know, lumbering. I mean, he's fast for sure. I'm sure, but like you can't really parry a lightsaber, right? Like a lightsaber is just going to cut right through a steel weapon. Like it'll melt through it like butter. Like what can you do against that? Like Teclis would own Luke. Yeah, exactly. Hear me out. What if Yoda versus Dude, Skarsnik would get dunked on by Yoda. Yoda would pick up, unless Yoda was just like sipping tea somewhere and Skarsnik like pops out of a bush and shanks him. Sure, but like Yoda would have the plot armor, and Yoda would own Skarsnik. He would pick him up and just like launch him into orbit with the Force. Luke versus Slan, a Slan for sure. It depends on what type of a Slan. Yeah, Palpatine versus Slan though. So if you guys know about Warhammer Fantasy lore, Slan are extremely overpowered. They can like, some of the older Slan can literally like lift mountains and shit. So Slan would probably be some of the scariest duelists in general. Palpatine versus Nagash. Probably Nagash would win, yeah. I mean, Palpatine wishes he could like raise a Legion of the Dead to do his bidding, you know? Yoda versus Mazdamundi, Frog duel. It's tricky. That's like a plot armor duel, right? Because like both are just such powerful ancient beings that are like the masters of their magic craft, so... Yeah. Palpatine versus Nagash is so stupid. I love it. I think Yoda bodies most of the Warhammer world. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know if Yoda could take on the major wizards, like a Mazdamundi or like a Nagash or like an Ark in the Black. Or I think Yoda would struggle versus a lot of those guys. Luke versus Tamarkon. That's an interesting duel because I think Luke would defeat Tamarkon in a duel, but then Tamarkon's parasite, if it gets on Luke, like if he's not quick enough to stop that, then Tamarkon would win in the end. So it's an interesting one. Luke would obviously defeat Tamarkon. Although if Tamarkon's on the Toad Dragon, I might actually give the fight to Tamarkon. Because the Toad Dragon is just this monstrous behemoth that the lightsaber wouldn't just like insta-kill, right? And like, I don't know if Luke would be able to take that on. Yeah. Malekith versus Vader. Vader. Yeah, I would choose Vader. Yeah. Because Lord Vader is like, it's a technology problem at that point because the lightsaber is just vastly superior. And like, you know, if we just like assume the Force is able to like keep magic somewhat even, you know, like I think that Lord Vader would be able to defeat Malekith. Yeah. Jar Jar versus Greasus. Oh, Greasus would probably win. Yeah, Jar Jar's pretty pathetic. Turin versus Slan in a hot dog eating contest. I'm not what I once was. The Slan would defeat me handedly. Yeah, pretty decisively. Okay. So let me refresh on the website. See what's cooking here. Yeah, Vader's pretty OP. It depends on if you're looking at the expanded Star Wars universe or like canon, but yeah, he's pretty beast mode. Greasus versus Jabba. I think Jabba would lose. Greasus is actually very strong and powerful as a fighter in lore. He's just lazy. So I think that Greasus would probably defeat Jabba the Hutt. You think Malekith would destroy Vader? Yeah. Are we yeah, I mean, it's so hard because like all these characters, if you're reading their story, they have their own plot armor, but Slaughterbrute versus Rancor. Probably Slaughterbrute. Yeah, like the Warhammer monsters are just so much scarier. Like a Slaughterbrute is just, I think, way stronger than a Rancor. Malachi versus Han. Like, are we talking in a gunfight? Because blasters are much more advanced than a freaking blunderbuss, right? I don't know what that is, Cooper. Yeah. Jabba is good for 2 meals and Did I miss something here? Oh, hey, the Master Boyan one. I see that. What are your top 3 Unga Bunga factions? Okay. Master Boyan, thank you for the donation, bud. And to answer your question, the top 3 mouth-breathing Unga Bunga factions for me that require... Are we talking... Okay. So Master Boyan, I need a response from you in chat to answer this question. Do you mean Unga Bunga as in like the most literal caveman factions, like thematically, or do you mean Unga Bunga as in the most brain, like mouth breathing, stupid, easy to play, like move forward and fight factions? I need a clarification here. Yeah, fantasy. Oh my god, no. Round is done. Yeah, we're waiting for the other side of the bracket. So yeah, I'm waiting for the answer from Mr. Boyan here. Okay, we got Stingers versus Outer Region in the grand finals. A rematch. So Elves versus Dwarves. It's a round 2 fight. Finals. Okay. Awesome, awesome. And there we go. Perfect, perfect. And we are good to go. So let's get it going, boys. Let's have some fun. Dwarves versus High Elves. It is the lore grudge. What character is the most... No, I'm not going to say that, dude. No. I've been tricked a couple times in the olden days to say some stuff on stream. I'm better about it now, but when I first started doing YouTube, people caught me all the time. You know, there's people who dedicate themselves to trying to get streamers to say shit, and yeah, I've been owned many times. I'm much more cautious now. I'm much more cautious. Yeah. Gotta root for Elves. Hope Stingers can pull them out of the pits. Elves are not bad, dude. You know, a faction that can counter Khorne, like very, very well, is High Elves. Have some really good counterattack against Khorne. They annihilate the skull cannons. They have great answers against the Khorne mobility. They can shut down the Khorne gores. Like they do a lot very well. Yeah. All right, guys, it's go time. Yes, yes, let's get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Let's have some fun and let us party. All right, guys, so it's going to be the Dwarves facing off against the High Elves here in the grand finals. This is for all the marbles, ladies and gentlemen. And let us do it. So, taking a look here, it is going to be Stingers with his White Lines of Crace front line. What did he change from last time is the question, though. We saw this matchup earlier in today's tournament. We saw the White Lines, we saw the Archers, we saw Larry with Tempest. But this Larry does not have Tempest. Rather, Frost Protection and Earthblood. Interesting adaptation. Okay. So there's going to be Reavers. Reaver mobility is pretty useful for contesting objectives, although it does kind of fall off in the mid game once the Dwarves are able to stabilize a position. So it will give them the early advantage there. Now, looking over here, we do see Outer Region. And he's going to be rocking a pretty traditional Dwarf build. Lots of, Vanguard capture weight with the Miners. Triple Iron Drake Trollhammer Torpedo. So I think he had 2 earlier, or was it 3? I can't quite recall, but very good against Chariots, good against Halberd Monsters. Honestly, good against Infantry as well. Even though they're quote-unquote anti-large, they're still good against all those units. So, yes, yes. Yo, Turin, do you form... let's see. Do you form emotional attachments to video games? Yeah. Like, I'm kind of weird like that. Like, when I updated my computer like a year ago, I actually was like sad. I looked at my old computer on my shelf and I like felt bad for it. I was like, we've been through so much together. So there is a little bit of that, but yeah, I mean, I think everyone forms like nostalgia and like happy memories of like certain games, right? Yeah, 100%. 100%. So, advancing up are the Dwarf Warriors as well as the Dwarf Warrior Great Weapons and the Trollhammer Torpedoes. The Elves are not going to get the objective, so like little plays like this by Outer Region are very, very good. Very, very good. Normally the Elves would just insta-cap you and they would have like a 30-40 point advantage on you, but in this case, he's able to utilize his Vanguard Infantry, sacrifice a little bit of HP to get that. So in the back, we get Bolt Throwers being called in. So Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers are going to be the tech for Stingers this game. Now, what are they going to be good against? They are an anti-large unit, probably just tech against Gyrocopters to put consistent pressure on them. I still think maybe bringing the Tempest as like a tech, a Swiss Army knife could have been good. And now we get the Rangers moving forward. So the Rangers going to start shooting into the Dwarven army. And we get the first call-in of the Gyrocopters. So moving on up, we do see the advancing gun. So it's going to be 3 units of the Iron Drakes with the Trollhammer Torpedoes. So those bad boys are advancing up. And that is going to force the Elven army back. Like, even though the Elves are trying to do a little bit of kiting with their Archers and their Skirmish Cav, The Iron Drake should be able to screen them out eventually, but massive Dwarven capture weight. You can see it's just fully erect, triple chevron or triple arrow up, showing that they have the capture weight advantage over the Elves. So the Elves are just going to try and value trade here. We get a Bolt Thrower being called in, and what's going to be next? Stinger's sitting at 1,600. Is there going to be a Phoenix? Are we going to see some sort of an air unit? Because now Outer Region, he is very clinical. He's sticking to the playstyle that worked for him in the past, and he's not messing around. Okay, Bolt Thrower is being used to shoot the Iron Drakes. I don't know how much I like that. The damage output of the Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers is pretty minimal. We do see the Elven Archers pulling back. So the Reavers are pulling back to try and screen out the advancing Gyrocopters, but Outer Region's Dowie are just right up on that point. The War of the Beard 2.0 is upon us. So now, ooh, I like this. Yeah, so we got White Lines of Krace in ambush in the trees, and this is how you play against Dwarves and Dom often. You can test the side points. We got 2 War Lines of Krace coming out, and up in the sky, we have the Gyrocopters with the Brimstone guns. And yeah, they're going to be cooking it. They're going to be roasting these archers. So advancing in is Ilariel the Radiant. Ooh, nice bombard run right there. Beautiful drop right there on top of the archers. More flamethrowers going in, and now they're going to be cooking these Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. Are the High Elf Archers going to be able to mitigate these Gyrocopters this game? And the answer looks like maybe yes. One of the Gyrocopters is very low. I'm sure right now Stingers is regretting not having Tempest. It would be super clutch at trying to finish these guys off. One archer unit is down, but the Reavers are a little bit harder to shut down. So one Gyrocopter is going to be chased off the battlefield. Bolt Thrower is still very much online, shooting downtown at the Iron Drakes. Stinger is going to be advancing through the trees. So we do have a Vanguard of Elves moving up, so it is going to be Narnia Line. So we got 2 Narnia Lines and a War Lion of Krace, which are going to just bunker bust that back objective. And mainly just dealing with the Gyrocopter threat now. So Lothern Sea Guard, the Storm Riders are called in. Now these guys have fire while moving, which makes them a little bit trickier to lock down. And looks like the Bolt Thrower, though, is going to be taken to Pound Town. Larry does escort that 1 Gyro off the battlefield. So I think like some cheap Eagles could be good here too. Maybe some sort of a Great Eagle or something, Yeah, so Gyrocopters are running away. We do see them fleeing the scene. Reaver Archers are overhead, and the shooting will continue. They will continue indeed. -13. The blasting is there, and they do start to cook these White Lines of Krace as well. But yeah, the Gyro Rampage was pretty effective, though. Yeah, he was able to shut down a lot of the Archers, the Bolt Thrower as well. More or less an even trade, though. After all is said and done, Larry's going to be on her way back. The mobile archers are doing pretty well, and it looks like the gyros will be diminished at this point. Now, this is going to be the biggest element of the matchup, is going to be the back pressure coming in from Stingers, the War Lines of Krace, as well as White Lines of Krace. The Rangers are also going to be surging through the tree line. Rangers not particularly good against Dwarves, but they do have Vanguard as well as anti-infantry, so they can take on some of the chaff units. That is for sure. So the Elven shooting is still trying to pick off the Gyros where they can, but he has been lured into a bit of a kill box here. So the Iron Drakes with the Troll Armor Torpedoes are now ripping some very, very cost-effective shots, and you can see these guys getting bashed up, but an Earthblood is going to try and salvage that situation wherever they can. Elves calling in more Rangers, so it looks like they're going to be trying to full court press here in a minute. And we do see Outer Region. This is a very good veteran play. Parking on the back of the objective is good, because it forces the Elves to extend as far as possible out of the woods. If you're defending a home objective from a Vanguard like this, you don't want to be here, right? Because then it takes longer for your reinforcements to get there. He's showing a lot of really good domination fundamentals right now. But the fact that he's parked on the back of the objective is very, very clean. Because then the Elves have to overextend into you. And they come further into your kill box, which can rotate this way and do all sorts of stuff like that. So we got White Lines of Krace. We got War Lines of Krace. War Lines here as well. The Gyrocopters over here is a problem. Larry's probably going to have to come try and chase them if she can. But so far, it seems like Stingers it almost is like a fencing match, right? He's like trying to find a hole in his opponent's defenses. He's looking for that opening, but he can't quite find it, and it's precarious for him. So the Rangers are going to move to the side. We do see the mobile Reaver Cav coming over. I really, really bet he's wishing he brought Tempest. Tempest would just finish off this one. This one Gyrocopter with 10 freaking models would basically be KO'd and running off the battlefield, right? And then the other one would be on deathbed too, if he had Tempest. The Foz protection, it must have been a misclick. Like, I don't know why you would bring Foz protection except to mitigate blasting charges. So you pop it before a blasting charge comes in and you get the armor. But even still, that seems like a very, very tough play. Very, very tough play. And, the Elf ambush on the side is pretty obvious for sure. And now the mobility is going to be coming across. So Reavers and War Lines of Krace are going to be advancing out. And the full mobility core has arrived. So there is some counterplay. But the Grim Delvers have arrived in Outer Region like clockwork, literally doing the exact same thing you did in the earlier game. A lot of players will second guess themselves. They'll win a matchup, right? and then they'll be like, well, my opponent knows what I brought last time. I'm going to change my build. But he doesn't do that. He stays true to the style he knows works. And he just, you know, in the words of Limp Bizkit, he's just rolling, dude. All right. So advancing in is Larry the Radiant, chasing down the gyrocopters. And the objective has been stolen by the Elves, but they're going to need to hold this for quite some time. And now the full court press is coming in. This could work. You know, this could work. We got Rangers and White Lines all over the place. White Lines will uptrade into Dwarvish Infantry very, very well. And Rangers are also going to be attacking into these guys. All right, so Reavers charging into the backfield, looking to find an opening on top of the Trollhammer torpedoes. The tree line helps mitigate the missiles that are going in on their advance. So Reavers do get a nice charge right there and do some glorious attacks into the Iron Drakes. Iron Drakes, of course, have huge armor and some Dwarvish reinforcements. Should be able to hang in there. Larry uses Phos Protection, so this is what it's for, I guess. But, like, Iron Drakes have such good armor piercing. I really don't know how I feel about the Phos Protection pick. It seems a little bit hog wild to me. Nonetheless, we do get the White Lines of Grace engaging against the Miners, and there are Slayers as well as Doomseekers here. That's a very nasty Dwarvish position. Larry continues to chase the Gyrocopters, and this objective is actually flipping to the Dwarves right now. They were able to get a lot of infantry up on the point, which is very scary, and the White Lines of Grace are trading well, but that's going to change once the Doomseekers get in combat. But the middle objective is in flux. It seems that the Elves in their full court press, the timing of everything seems to be working out. You know, he took his time, and he got a big press on all three objectives, and is able to push through the first waves of Dwarven defenders, as we do see the Dwarf Warriors start to fold up a little bit. And the value is much closer than the previous games. This is a much, much cleaner game here. Rangers have also gotten around the flank, and they're going to be trying to shut down the Iron Drakes. Granted, the Flamethrower Gyros are going to be incredibly nasty. Incredibly nasty. So here they come, attacking into the Iron Drakes with the Trollhammer torpedoes. You know, the low stat line, you know, maybe the Rangers can get some work done. But yeah, these Flamethrowers, very, very nice here. But the objective does flip, so now, you know, the path to victory for High Elves is very, very clear. Essentially, you just swamp the middle objective now and just hope you can outvalue the Dwarves. That's basically what needs to happen. 4,000 against 4,700, so pretty close. The White Lines of Grace are going to be swarming into the back of the Dwarf Warriors here, and Rangers are also heading up. Larry going to be flying overhead, dropping Earthblood on her defenders or attackers in the back, but it doesn't matter. The blasting charges just wreck them. And, of course, the White Lines of Grace are going to be dragged down by Doomseekers and, you know, any number of other very good quality units. More Slayers being called out. Stingers keeping the value very close, though, because he's winning. Stingers is winning every single fight in the front line, like every single one. This one here, this one. Like, he's getting a lot of victories and has also compromised the Iron Drakes with the Trollhammer torpedoes. All right, I'm loving it. It's really cool to see the adaptions in play styles with both players. Out of region pretty much playing the same style, but it's working so far, right? Like, it's just a closer game because Stinger's made some good adjustments as well. But there is going to be a reckoning, right? The Dwarves have a lot of stuff on their back objective. They kind of overreacted to the back, which made them vulnerable in the middle. But there's going to be a reckoning as all those units start to surge towards the middle, right? It's going to get real crunk nasty. We do see a Narnia Chariot being called in. Larry the Radiant just hunting down these gyrocopters. So another gyrocopter does fall to the Giant Eagle, and another one goes down. And it's going to take a long, winding crash down to the earth, and there it goes, exploding into the ground. So Rangers advancing up, Lothern Seaguard fighting Slayers, White Lines of Grace pretty numerous, and looking at the points here, we do see Stingers creeping up. It is 867 against 734, so certainly anybody's game at this point. So I suspect High Elves are just going to continue calling out infantry to try and, you know, keep the Dwarves from getting the capture weight in the middle. Although, there's still some pressure on the back objective. We do get rallying Elves. Elves are a very high leadership faction, so they are able to rally their units despite taking some tough fights earlier. And the Rangers are going to be rushing in to meet the Dwarves. Slayers, obviously not good against these units, but still not, I mean, not, from a cost perspective, it's not great, because Slayers are quite a bit more expensive, and Rangers will uptrade into them. But big blasting charge salvo. It's a nice one there. A bit of friendly fire damage. Does cook some of the Dwarf Slayers there, but at the end of the day, probably worth it. But the back pressure is forcing Outer Region to respect that. We do have Narnia Lions kind of running rampant. So one Narnia Lion here manages to catch and feast on the Iron Drake Trollhammer torpedoes. And the objective, though, is starting to flip back to Dowie capture weight. And this is not a situation that Elves could allow. What do we see being called in for the Elves? We have 1,500 right now. Now, what is Stingers doing with that bank? Because he cannot let the Dwarves get this capture weight back. He cannot. Another gyrocopter going to be taken down. So Larry just putting this game on her back, or trying her best to keep the gyrocopters in check. Lion Chariots running through the Dwarf Warriors right here, and we do see a big old bombardment, or a big old heel going down, so that's going to be the Heart of Avalorn, as Larry and the Chariots are going to be surging into the secondary. Lions trying to shut down Grimdelvers. Other Narnia Lions here shut down, but not before they were able to potentially get a leadership break on these Trollhammers, so even is trading there. And the capture weight does come back to the Elves, as now we get Archers being called in, so Archers with light armor, but he's still sitting on 1,500, guys. I have a feeling that maybe Stingers has not done a good job unsummoning units, so maybe he doesn't have anything to call in, which really might cost him the game. Because sometimes with elite armies, like your stuff just doesn't die or get routed off the field. It might be very low, but it stays. And then you just run out of units to summon, and you just have this huge bank, which I think is what's happening here. Like, these guys should be unsummoned. They're not going to contribute much to the battle. Little plays like that. So looking at the points, guys, we have a knockdown, drag-out finals, ladies and gentlemen. More War Lines of Grace are going to be called in here. It is currently still dwarf favored in terms of score, but not for long. We have a 990 against a 980, so super close. Gyrocopters there are cooking a little bit, and we do see Rangers still alive. Larry helping to pick off the last of the Doomseekers. So the Doomseekers are not great against big things. They're still okay, but they're not like Slayers with the anti-large. Archers coming in, providing a little bit of capture weight. The Dwarves are looking like they're on the back foot against Stingers here. It's a very impressive game by both players. The Chariot micro, the Warline micro is very clean, and he's doing a good job shutting down the shooting, which last game, by this point last game, Larry the Radiant had been shot down. Like, she was karate chopped, right? And yeah, I mean, there were so many elements that were just going so much worse for the Elves, and especially considering their Lord being dead. But the Archers will be good against like very tattered Slayer units. And now, okay, this is very powerful. The Reavers. So he was saving up for, I guess, the recharge on the Reavers. So the Reavers have been recalled in, and that is 12 capture weight, which is going to be excellent for charging down tattered dwarf units and keeping the Gyrocopters honest. But the Dwarves are still threatening here. We do see them not too far behind on points. So the capture weight is coming into dwarf favor here, but now it goes back into elf favors. The Chariots move on to the point. They're going to be running down the Slayers, and here goes the Reavers. So the Reaver Archers are going to be shooting into the Slayers, and they're also going to be shooting into the Doomseekers and all these other guys. On the backside, the Warlines of Krace nibbling away on the Grim Delvers, and will also be nibbling on the Miners with blasting charges. Larry, does she have any of her AoE abilities? I don't think so, but yeah, it kind of looks like the Elves have taken this game over, right? Like the Illyrian Reaver Archers are going to be shooting into the Slayers and just getting a shit ton of value, and very soon it's going to be a triple cap situation. So if Stingers just starts reinforcing his back objective right now, I think he just wins the game. I don't know what the Dwarves can do. I mean, the Dwarves have a couple Slayers, but that's really it, and they're just so beat up. The back objective, they're going to have to leave some units here, because if they don't, there's always the threat of the back cab, especially now that there's 12 mobile capture weight that could run back there. Nice bombardment run from outer region as the Slayers and the healthy Slayers try and chase down these skirmishers. Very close to a triple cap situation. Still a full health Warline unit. The Lion Chariots of Krace are, they're in the jungle tonight. They're getting in there. Oh, no, I thought they were going to run these guys over, trying to get you a cinematic shot. But they are looping back onto the objective to join their other infantry. Not seeing any Doomseekers, so the infantry killing power isn't amazing. And the Reaver Cav are a little bit caught up in melee. So he better be careful. You don't want to blunder the micro there. And on the back objective, we do get white lines. They should be running here now, in my opinion. Although reinforcing the middle isn't a terrible idea also. But the Dwarves are going to be horrific at back capping you. So if it does get to a triple cap situation, I don't know, a bit of a blunder with some of these Cav here. Outer region is able to cook him, and the capture weight does start to flip to the Dowie. We see, a lot of these Reaver Cav getting melted down, ladies and gentlemen. And is he going to start heading to the back objective? No, he's going to keep reinforcing the middle. It's at 1,300 against 1,157 right now, so very close. The Elves eviscerating the backfield here, so using their Chariots and Warlines to chew through those backfield numbers. Very clean. Up in the sky, Gyrocopters with brimstone guns roasting into these, also roasting into the Reavers, so those guys are going to get cooked. Lyrian Reaver's going to be circling about face, and they are coming on into party. So here they go. They're going to be charging into the Warlines of Krace. Yeah, circling on, maintaining capture weight. Every moment that the Elves can maintain capture weight is huge. Dwarves actually don't even have a lot here. They do still have a capture weight advantage. You can see it kind of keeps going back and forth. Big charge there, going to be crushing a bunch of those Slayers, but also running into a bit of an AoE blast from those Gyrocopters with the brimstone guns. Now, are the Elves reinforcing their back objective? Yes, they are, but outer region planning for it as well. Look at this. He's got the Dwarven Miners heading through the trees. He knows it's his only chance, but honestly, I think it's just over. If the Rangers just come back here and cackle, that's going to be GG. This one could flip to Dowie, but man, Stinger's playing like a man possessed right now. The beginning of this game was not good for him. It was looking very tough. Like, he was really having a tough time cracking the facade, the armor of outer regions, not facade, but the armor of outer regions position, but he was eventually able to do it just through, really cool back pushing and, making sure to only engage when it was optimal. But that is going to be a victory for the Asur. The High Elves are going to be claiming revenge after losing the first battle earlier today in a pretty decisive faction, coming back, adjusting, and getting the job done. So I believe the Elves just win. It's only going to be another 15 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Rangers are coming up, and GG, well to the plate. Congrats to Stingers. that is going to be Stinger's first victory this season. I do not believe that he has won a tournament yet this season. So he's going to be bringing it home for the boys over at RTK. And Outer Region's already won like 5 tournaments. He can afford to share a little bit, you know? Yeah, he can afford to share. So yeah, GG, really good game. Really cool. The Reaver Cavs were MVPs, I think, for the dynamic pressure. Warlines were super good. The Bolt Thrower was probably the only weird pick, but everything else was very good. I still think he would have been stronger with Tempest. Maybe. I could be wrong. Maybe Tempest is a bait, and then you don't use as many Earthbloods, right? So maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. I'd be curious to hear his thoughts on that. Love catching the streams. Is Slanesh? Yeah, the Seekers are pretty nasty, yes. All right, guys. GG, well played. Drop a like on the way out. We'll be back streaming. Our trip has been postponed. We had some family stuff come up, so we postponed our trip. So we're going to be here streaming, all the way through New Year's and stuff. We're going to be traveling a little bit earlier in January. So like probably first or second, third week in January at some point, we're going to be traveling instead. So that's going to be it. Appreciate you guys. You rock, man. That was fun. And until next time, you guys take care of yourselves. Congrats to Stingers for the victory. And yeah, GG, well to the plate. Let's look at value real quick. 1,400, 400, 500. The value being held short. Gyrocopters 2,300, nasty, 17 and 800. So the gyrocopters are really, really good. Yeah, really, really good indeed. Postponed, that's right. Yes. All right, guys. See you around. Take care of yourselves. And Sigmar bless, or in this case, Isurian. May he bless. Take care of yourselves. Cheers, and we'll be back streaming in the next few days. Oh, yeah, for Master Boyan, by the way. Yes. So the most Unga Bunga factions, probably Khorne and Norska. Greenskins are not Unga Bunga. They're very dynamic. They have heavy cab play. They have heavy magic usage. Very micro-intensive, actually. You have to rally a lot of low leadership units. So Khorne and Norska are pretty turbo Unga Bunga, I would say. And Nurgle is probably another super Unga Bunga faction in Dom. Khorne and Nurgle, as a matter of fact, are probably the most Unga Bunga factions in the game. All right, guys. See you around, and that's it for tonight.